from 7 to 3. Overindulged in flesh like it's free. We're on a fast ride where monkeys killing time with machines. Making love that we don't even feel. You don't even notice if it's her or it's me. But somewhere deep in it's cutting like a knife, so you just kill it with the one. All of a sudden you are free. You call your mom and say, hey, it's me. I just need some more mommy money. I'm gonna spend it, filling up my house, my face, my body, and my tongue, 'cause I just wanna feel good. Using all that's left, somewhere in your chest, on your sweetheart hidden mist. Uh-oh.
Those who survive know the one more time.
quick fix, finding bliss when you feel the heartbeat inside. When you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk. Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? When you're drunk, 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 when you're drunk. Me too, I'm just like you, and I need to fuck it up sometime. I'm stuck with ego trips, selling sex to a mobile bar. Sometimes I feel magic, then I manage to fuck up somehow. Get drunk, get drunk, get drunk, get drunk, and I'm getting high. Do you believe in magic? a thunderstorm. Oh, here we go, go. You're easy to remember, so hard to forget. Baby, it's a coward way you strut. Well, how could I not worship every inch your feet have touched? Baby, run away with me. You kill it lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe there's only one of you, baby. Run away with me. Don't leave me lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe. There's no more clouds on the freeway. Now tell me you'll stay. Golden hour lasts all day. Here we go. Rose bed, fancy hotels, girl, you know. Baby, run away with me. You kill it lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe there's only one of you, baby. Run away with me. Don't leave me lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe. And we'll stay in bed all day. Make love in every way. Baby, run away with me. You kill the lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe. Oh, baby, run away with me. Don't leave me lonely. You make my eyes unsee. All the crazy. You make my heart believe. You make my heart believe.
the beginning of the end and the start of a new beginning. Time has come to refine yourself and let go of the demons in your head that have held you in captivity for so long. It's time to flip the page and prove them wrong. It's time for rebirth. Yeah, time's up to say goodbye to all the haters, doubters, and non-believers trying to bring you down. In the blink of an eye, you'll realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on. Finally, you will feel free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you're the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a I don't give a fuck. 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 It's time to start doing the right thing. So trust your instincts, stop listening to others, and own your decisions. People will always tell you what to do, opinion how to live. So let's create space for what matters most to you. You'll be glad you did. Now start claiming your time and your mental well-being by saying no more. No more. Say it loudly and proudly. In other words, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike, you have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Well, it's intended for mature audiences, but we'll work with what we've got. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. The chat has already just been going kind of nuts. I see Smoking Spaceman was number one in the chat. That was cool. Tiki Tack dropped by. I'm surprised he's awake after last night. He ran longer than normal. Plumpy is in the house. So is Lord of Pies and Jack M. Sheridan. The Vengeful Truther, TVT, made it in. Fredo Fonzarelli is hanging out with us today. Ben is out there. He's talking some trash today. That's okay. That's okay. He probably needs to. It's all right. And looks like I'm going to talk about a lot of music, which is good stuff. That's awesome. And Ahimsa Alexander is in the chat. And yes, I actually did. I didn't have any problems with the storms last night. It was It was no big deal. Mr. is in the house. Hopefully he's not driving too fast or too slow. Based Welshman, good to see you. Good to see you. Glad to drop by. I don't know who you are, but we'll figure it out. Mara Kate is in the house, and she says, "What's up, Griddles?" I'm not really sure what's with the Griddles thing, but I'm certain in the feminine mind it makes perfect sense. Just not mine. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we. Oh man, what a few days. What a few days. It's been interesting. The weather is just going crazy. It's every day I think it's gonna we're gonna have this massive rainstorm, and I'm all prepared, and I've got it ready to go. And then it's a little windy, a little sunny, a little cloudy, and every now and again we'll get like 2 drops of rain. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's all right though. So, man, we ran late last night, and we just sort of prattled about man stuff, cars and business and cars and racing, and stories of how we came to be in, or how I came to be in racing, and how that all worked out and everything. So it was a good time for me. Probably, it was probably not as good a time for other people, but that's okay. Sam Cedar got destroyed by PBD this morning. That's not shocking. Sam Cedar, I'm really not sure, but Sam Cedar it strikes me as one of those guys that's kind of like, he's not, as you would say, on the spectrum, but he's slightly, that's weird. I'll have to fix that. Oh, there we go. Got it. Disingenuous. That's a good word for Sam Cedar. Yeah. He seems very, look, it's just me. I think he's fake. I don't think he believes a word he fucking says, and I think he just says it to be popular and be on TV and have people call him up and want him to be interviewed and shit. I honestly, I think he's a liar. Maybe he's not. I don't know. Every single time I see that guy, where I think he's got it going on, it's not. It's just, he's just fake as fuck. Welcome, Angel Berber. Good to see you. Good to see you. Glad to see you back. And actually, it's been a long time since Angel Berber has been up on the stage. And one day we're going to have to get him back up here. What's up, Anson Knowles, chairman of the board? Good to see you in the chat. Politically, the tariffs just got implemented, and the usual traitors in the GOP are being revealed. So many people are butthurt. I'm going to get into that in just a minute. I promise. Yeah, any socialist. Yeah, right. I mean, that's pretty fucking true. That's pretty fucking true. Angel Berber is a smart man. He is by definition smart, and he's a great avatar as well. So that's cool. Mr. Man, I really gotta talk to. This is something that's interesting. So I actually have a friend of mine, and he's Ukrainian, but he now understands how fucked up the Ukrainian war is, and he is so he's anti-Ukrainian war, and he's he's a good dude. He really is. He wants to be a good dude, but he's Ukrainian, and he didn't really want to vote for Trump, but Elon got behind Trump, and he likes Elon. He literally worships Elon. And so he just couldn't wait to vote for Trump. And now he's all butthurt again because he's all butthurt again because hang on one second. I got to take care of something. Give me 1 second. This is embarrassing. This is not Sorry about that. My wife locked the dog out of the house, and I had to go let the dog in because the dog will literally sit there and beat on the door of the studio and whine until I go do that. So anyway, so my buddy, he used to be a big Elon guy. He used to be like, and he was kind of a Trump supporter, but he's like, he's a wannabe atheist. He's not really atheist. He's just, he's pessimistic. And so he's all pissed about Israel. Like he cannot, like he is bought completely into that the Israelis control the world, and where the entire United States government is being blackmailed or manipulated by the Israelis. And I mean, like literally, dude, like it's bad. It's really bad. And so even when you point out things that that kind of fly in the face of what he's talking about, he just can't. He's just so, he lives in this world of kind of like, not hate, right? But I don't know. He just wants to be angry at these people. So today he's like, because Trump is basically saying, look, we can't have these Houthi rebels being supported by Iran and hiding in Iran. We can't have the slave markets open back up in Libya and Syria. And we kind of got to, we need to either pull completely out and just let them implode on their own, or what. But if we're going to have boats out there and people are going to shoot at them, we have every right to go, after the people that shoot at them. Now, I don't personally agree with that, right? Like, I think that what Trump ought to do is what he said originally that he was going to do, and that is pull everybody back, pull out of the Middle East completely and just let them implode on their own. But I understand. The reality is that this is a process, right? It's not, look, you can't just throw you just can't pick up your ball, say, I'm going home, fuck all y'all, and walk off. Unfortunately, you got to be a little bit more adult about it. I really don't like it that we have to do it, but it is the way, So he's literally bought into this entire like conspiracy theory of the Israelis controlling the world and all the banking and everything else, right? It's really crazy. And this today, literally every day I get a notification on Facebook, and I want to go over and I want to see like some cool car shit or some gun stuff. I want to see some videos from matches, or I want to see, some kid that drove for me 15 years ago has decided, he's making it good. I want to go see that, but no, what do I see? I see this same tired dogma, I guess, of the Israelis are bad. Trump's a traitor. He promised he wasn't going to do this. He promised he wasn't going to do that. And here he is. Now we're fighting with Iran. Well, yeah, they shot at the fucking boats. You don't pick on our boats, bro. You leave the boats alone. So, so it, yeah, right. Angel, look, all of that is just like $9.99 from Ben. Look at this dude stepping up. Libs. Countries paying people slave wages to make our clothes is bad. Also, libs. No tariffs. Please keep forcing countries to make our clothes with slave wages. Yeah, right. That's pretty fucking funny and accurate at the same time. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have to, I just have to keep harping on this point that at least, look, it's okay if you like Trump, you don't like Trump, you think he's an idiot, you think that he's smart on some things, an idiot on others, whatever. I honestly don't give a shit. Just be consistent. And this idea that there's a global cabal that is controlling everything is just so fucking wrong. Like, do you have any idea? Like, especially, it's like, well, he'll point to things like Epstein, right? Where Epstein had, in theory, all of this dirt on people, and so he got to do whatever he wanted, right? Or he could manipulate people. Well, you know what happened to Epstein? He committed suicide. And it's a very interesting thing. I don't believe in shadow figures, right? Now look, I believe that people do things behind the scenes all the fucking time to benefit themselves. Is there an organization? No. It can't be, because if I'm trying to fuck everybody over, even if we work together today, that means that at some point I'm going to try and fuck you over too. So this is just not really something based in reality. I agree with this. Angel Berber says Israel is scrambling to find a way to appease Trump right now on these tariffs. I believe Trump is leveraging this on Israel to make him look bad, for making him look bad when they broke the ceasefire again. Yeah, right. And this is how Trump works every single time. I saw Beth Mayhew wandered in finally. Was there like free drinks at the bar or what? I don't know. What was you have a hot date? Hopefully you did. I mean, that would be great. But you got to get out there. Not getting any younger. Not spring chicken. I'm just saying. I don't drink either. That's very interesting. But yeah, so it's anyway. It's interesting that people that well, they never. It's not like he ever liked Trump, right? It's not like he ever wanted to. It's not like my buddy ever wanted to be on board with Trump. The only reason he voted for Trump is because of Elon, and he wasn't going to vote at all. Like, and honestly, he got bullied into voting because I literally told him, like, if you don't vote, you better not say one fucking word about politics for the next year. Not one word. And then he's that. So now today he's like, well, I'm sad I voted for Trump and he's a traitor. And we're doing all this stuff in the Middle East and tariffs and global cabal and Israel and all of this stuff. And all the while ignoring all of the actual facts. And so it's an interesting thing. I'm not going to out who it is. He's actually been on the show before, by the way. And and I really think that this guy just spends way too much time on like fucking Instagram or Twitter. Or Twitter is probably where he's getting all this shit. Literally, he just posted about an hour ago. Our greatest ally, which he referring to Israel, has been living off us like parasites, both openly and behind public eye. And our government just says, yes, daddy, give it to us harder. And that's absolutely wrong. He knows it. I know it. This entire chat knows it. Everybody knows it. But it's good to but it's good to say so. Now, here's what he's reacting to, by the way, is I don't know if you saw the post. I believe this was on Twitter. I don't, you guys probably didn't see this post, but it was Benjamin Netanyahu. And he says, today we canceled all of the custom duties levied on products from the U.S., Israel's largest trading partner. That's a win for us. That's a win. Canceling the custom duties on American goods is an additional step in the policy that my governments have led for a decade in opening up the market to competition, introducing variety to the economy, and lowering the cost of living, because Trump said you're not getting anything. And plus, here's 17% tariffs. And by the way, I'm still pissed over that break in the ceasefire thing. In addition to the advantages to the market and to the citizens of Israel, the current effort will allow us to further strengthen the alliance and ties between Israel and the U.S. We will continue to work to reduce barriers in customs and bolsters our special relationship with the U.S. So please take those 17% tariffs off, please. So that's that's an interesting thing. And he gets called out on it by somebody. He's like, Israel cancels tariffs on on U.S. goods, and you think that means they are somehow screwing us? It's very funny. Look, again, I'm not even really sure what you call this type of jackassery, because there are a lot of Americans. I'm using this because, to be honest, to be honest, a lot of people say shit like this. They'll sit there and bitch about Israel and ignore the slave markets reopening in Syria and Libya. Right? I mean, who cares about that? Who cares about people literally being sold in open markets? Yeah. No, let's be mad at Israel. That makes way more sense. Whatever. I'm sorry, I haven't been watching the chat. Let me catch up for a second, guys. Let me catch up. If anybody wants to come up, I'm pretty much done with my monologue. We can come up and have a discussion. We'll jabber, talk, all that kind of stuff. Israel is the least of our problems, to be honest. And honestly, I don't care about Israel. Israel takes the least amount of money from us. They take the least amount of aid. They sell us weapons. They buy us They buy weapons from us. I mean, honestly, they're the least. They're literally the least of my problems. Oh yes, I forgot. God, Guns, and Glory haven't been up yet, so we've been there. Yeah. It's an interesting thing because Stepfire, you're probably right. It is the collective mindset that runs on a short-term basis. It's not about ultimately the best. It's what's good today, damn tomorrow. That's part of it, but it's also this: if you don't do exactly the thing I want you to do, then fuck you, you're wrong, and you're dead to me, right? So Israel, all right, so Israel kind of fucked up. They fucked around and found out, right? So Trump said, I've negotiated the ceasefire, and we're going to see how this works. Now, I'm going to go ahead because I know somebody's going to fucking try and blast me in the balls with this. I do understand that despite the terms of the ceasefire, not all of the hostages were returned, and many of the hostages that had been that they were saying were alive were in fact not alive, including babies. And that really pissed Israel off. So I'm not saying that I don't understand Israel breaking the ceasefire when the reality ended up happening, but when reality hit and the ceasefire actually took place. I'm not saying that I don't understand what's happening, but they still got Daddy Trump is still pissed about it, right? Are you in this? Let me check Discord. Sorry, I was not checking the Discord, sir. I apologize. Let me make sure you've got the right link. I'm going to post a fresh link, moderators. There's the fresh link. And God, Guns, and Glory, pop over into the Discord, into the waiting room. Oh, you're not in the Discord? Here, let me help you out with that. Sorry about that, brother. I just forgot. Or I mean, I didn't realize that we weren't. What's up, Avoided Hornet? Avoided Hornet, since I don't know how long you've been here, but do you think that Israel is a global cabal secretly acting as puppet masters in the United States and other countries, and control and complete control of the world finances? I'm just curious. I really want to understand why people think this shit. That's a long story, Ben. I didn't even know who Grace Thorpe was, and then she was somebody invited her onto the channel, and I had Teriak on, and Teriak and Grace was flirting with Teriak. Teriak was like, "Get the fuck away from me," and I kind of decided I didn't like Grace, and then she kind of tried to troll me and blah blah blah. It was a bunch of shit, stupid shit. So what's up, Lindsay Smith? How are you? So now Grace is like, I don't know whether she's calmed down a lot or I don't know. I think that her and Ben go through these phases where they have this like really ridiculous need to create drama because they start feeling like they're not relevant anymore, and then they create a bunch of drama, and then they ride that wave of drama for a while and whatever. Lindsay Smith, you're welcome to come up and jabber as well if you would like a link. Anybody that would like to come up and go to the waiting room and just say what's up, and I will somebody will send you the link. Avoided Hornet says, wait. He says, no, most of the actions they take seem to be independent from the rest of the world controls. Yeah, I mean, and honestly, they seem to kind of just do their own damn thing. Right? What's up, Flan Life? Good afternoon to you, sir. How the hell are you? So, I mean, it's one of those things, guys, where I can't believe that people honestly believe this nonsense. What's worse is it shocks me that people go into public forums and say this. So let me get this straight. You believe that there's a global cabal of people who secretly run our entire government, and you think that if you actually believe that, you somehow think you are safe in criticizing said evil cabal. It's very interesting. You know, my question, Beth, this is very interesting. My question is, if the Israelis were truly in charge of the world, why are most politicians Catholic? I don't know. Why is Catholicism the largest, singular largest religion out there, or sect of Christianity for sure? Like, wouldn't politicians end up being Jewish? I know. Oh yeah. All right, Caro. Here, I got something. Got something for this. Let me I had to ask for a meme. So I have this whole thing about like secret societies and all this nonsense, right? Because I don't buy them. I don't believe it. I think it's all garbage. And it's I don't know, man. I just have a hard time. I just have a hard time with it. And so much like I don't believe in the Illuminati. I mean, I do believe that there are Illuminati. I just don't believe that they're a global cabal bent on the world domination. And I can't get there from here. So I asked one day for someone to make me a meme, and this is what we came up with here. And so we've got Illuminati over here, or pardon me, we got the Freemasons, the Illuminati, we got the Mormons over here, we got the Catholics, and over here we've got the Israelis late to the party, and they're like, "You're the new guy, right?" I think that's funny. I'm probably the only one. What's up, Ben? How are you, sir?
What's up, man? How's it going?
It's good. It's good. Hey, we got GGG up in the house.
How's it going, boys?
What's up?
Good, man. It's good.
Is the
Almost looks
audio
like
good
one of
for
my
you guys?
racing headsets. Almost.
You sound good to me.
It's a good old posh special. I just need some light. Yeah, I just need some fucking lights there, and we'll get it
You
going.
need some beats so the lights like pulse. That's what you need.
Yeah. Well, it's not actually lights. It's just
It
a
would
solid.
literally look, that would look just right on you. I can tell. So.
Well, like, yeah, like, do like all sorts of illicit drugs, lots of loud drift cars, and like flashing lights. So we'll start at like a car disco.
Yeah, I used to sponsor a drift car. We set some up, but I used to sponsor one. It was pretty cool. It was one of my guys that worked for me did it. Avoided Hornet says, I think there are power struggles between different cabals, but domination is not something I believe. Well, I can get behind that. I think that, yeah, sure. I think that there are very much organizations, groups, secret alliances, but I'm gonna veer off in a different direction because now we got some intelligent humans on the board.
Where?
Oh, don't give me too much credit. Trust me.
Do you guys believe that? And it's okay if you don't, but do you believe that our friend AOC has really been getting $3,400 a month for her dead grandmother's Social Security? You think that's
I did not hear
and they just didn't know. The claim is, I mean, I think they've proven that happens, but the claim is that they just didn't know. They just didn't notice that $3,400 being deposited in their bank every month.
Well, so AOC, right? So
AOC.
Arturo, like Cortez, like Ortegan, whatever, right?
Whatever.
Yeah. So like with that amount of money that goes in, they have accountants, right? Like it's not a poor person, right? And it's not like a blatantly middle class person. Like
it's interesting. You say
hold on.
When she first went to Washington, she complained about how expensive it was for her to have an apartment there and buy clothes that for her new position as a congressperson.
They can afford an accountant. $3,600, right? So you got to times it by 10 because there's 12 months, and then add another 2 months on top. So you think that like about like roughly what like $30,000 is unaccounted for, and you guys in America have to keep track of your taxes. Otherwise, you end up in jail. Like, yeah, I'm in Canadian land. Like, Mr. E's my greatest nemesis.
Oh, so you're about to be American? That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. So
dude, I'd marry a fat American chick real quick, but to get a fucking green card.
Are you?
Come on.
So you're pro 51st state of Canada.
I'm pro 50 and a half state because Canada's not worth a whole number.
The whole number?
Like,
real quick, what's the
dumbass Trudeau has been running this stupid shit for a decade with woke politics, and like we see nothing but a depreciation. Yeah, it's definitely gone downhill. There's no good side to Canada right now besides some stupid guy that they call an asshole that they mark as the dissident like me that's stuck here.
So, what's the focus on Alberta specifically? Do they have minerals that we want? What's the deal with Alberta?
You know that they extract a large amount of oil, right? Like,
oh,
these guys are good people.
Yeah, it's like a barren wasteland, pretty much, right?
Well, like that's pretty much all of Canada, unless you count resources.
Fair. Okay.
Like, we got heap tons of wood. We got, like, you know what I mean? Like, we
The only thing I know about
resources.
Alberta is that that's where Jordan Peterson's from. I think that's about it. So.
That's probably
yeah,
all you really need to know.
yeah. Well, Jordan Peterson isn't really a good version of, like. I still
Good
think that guy is a bad. Yeah, I still think that guy's a bagel. I'm not too sure about it though. Like, I can't
He's a
prove
what?
anything. A bagel.
What is that?
A hamburger bun with a hole in it.
I mean, I know what that is, but like, what's the? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he was born in Canada.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I think he has alliances to other funding. Like, he cries too much on camera. That's what the Jews specialize in. Whatever. That's what they're good at.
He does cry.
Yeah, I don't know.
Small hat. Okay, I'm following you.
Hat.
I got it.
So once again, Anson Knowles is allowing his inner simp to dictate the words that he types. He says AOC is an efficient politician. I respect her game. You respect the fact that she's a big booty Latina, and you know she was a bartender, so she probably puts out. That's what you respect. Let's just be honest. It's okay.
He's not always a simp. He was being pretty Sigma last night, if you remember, turning down whatever her name is in chat.
Arthur Daya.
Yeah,
that's because he has Big Boob McGee over there to
Big Boob McGee.
So serious question there, Grid.
Yeah, man.
Right? Obviously you're really pro, kind of like, I'm all legal. I've had my firearms license for years and years. An emphatic legal Canadian for firearms and stuff. Mm-hmm. What's your longest consecutive range hit? Like shooting, target hit.
So on the clock, I've hit out to about, I think it was 1,600 yards.
Okay, mine's 750 meters. I know yards is different.
Yeah,
so it's like somewhere around 1,000
meters, like 900 yards. No, it's not 900, maybe 800 yards, something like that.
Yeah. And the only thing that trained me was just like Canadians legally in the back. We only had so many acres on legal flat ground, and like it was just farmland off season that we're allowed to shoot on and stuff, like, which was a legal range. Sure. With the amount of, I have to throw in these disclaimers. Canada is broken,
right?
But it was about 750 meters, and they like only like selling us their range finders and meters, you know, stupid metric crap.
Mine goes back and forth between non-moon landing and moon landing.
Yeah. So that's like kind of what I was like.
Have a good time working today. So
yeah. So I did a night shift. I got off night shift, obviously, had some beers. Like, I'm at the very end of my quote unquote night. Well, you guys are starting up a day shift.
I used to do night shift a long time ago.
Yeah. It was nice. I got off work at 7 a.m.
Lindsay wants a piece of you. She says 1986 called. They want their muscle tee back. It's very nice of you to notice that he's a well-muscled young man there, Lindsay.
Young man, I'm 34. I'm broken. Popping Tylenol and fucking what's that called? Anti-inflammatories to fucking get through the work. Yeah. Some benzos.
I can shoot out to a mile pretty easily, and that's was it? I think that's 1,200.
I think 750. Yeah, I think 750 meters puts me about like 200 yards short of a mile. And mind you, every time that we did it, it's completely legal in Canada to drink and shoot firearms.
What's legal here? We don't have such weird things where we have a definition of legal or illegal around firearms where I'm at. Basically, the
No.
only illegal stuff is um, you can't have. I mean, like you have to pay a tax stamp to get a suppressor. You have to pay a tax stamp to have full
Yeah.
auto.
No suppressors in Canada. We're not allowed those. No oil filters, no modifications, all the yeah, like you think the what are those guys called over there that are the worst with the firearms? I want to say it's FDA, but it's not the FDA. They mess with Demolition Ranch and all
meters.
those guys.
So 1,600 meters is a mile. Thanks, Chuck in Tennessee. Good to see you. So I've shot a mile a couple of times, and there's a range here where we can shoot a mile anytime. And I know that
but you need. I only was ever able to shoot on like flat ground, and to get up towards that the range that you've been able to shoot at, it takes a lot of land and a lot of safe dirt up and down and like backstop. Yeah. So 750 meters was like roughly, I can do it in acres, but it's diagonal. So it's, yeah.
I mean, 750 meters is, it's probably 800.
Like,
I could do it.
I would never do it. I like Trump. I like Trump, but I'm like the guy on the rooftop, like he's a slacker. He didn't know what he's doing.
So I shoot my AR. I've hit on my
5.56
AR at 680 meters.
Oh yeah,
it's a 2.2
easily.
And then
your AR is at 2.23, not 5.56.
That's the same.
Oh, is it? Okay, that's my bad.
That's all right.
Leave it to Canada to mislabel bullshit.
It's all right. No, it's not mislabeling. So 5.56 is not a SAMI approved round, and 2.23 is. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So so I've hit with the small bore guns. I've hit out to, and on the clock, I've hit the 680 yard or 680 meters or yards. I can't remember which they ranged it in that day. It doesn't matter. It was far.
Yeah, sorry.
It was very far.
Sorry to bring in metric, stupid British bullshit.
That's on the edge of the max effective range for the AR. And then with the 300 short mag bolt gun, I've easily hit out to 1,600 yards with that. And with the 6.5 Creedmoor, 1,600 yards is like it's easy. Like anybody can do it. There's not even that much reason.
Oh yeah. Well, like so with the 5.56, we only have so we don't get ARs over here. We're not allowed. There's like the Creedmoor is like the closest thing that we can get, that like hybrid model. I'm a big fan of the old Russian stuff that we're allowed to have. We can't have anything past semi. It's always just, it is what it is. But I was lucky enough to get in the game before it got broken in Canada. But like SKS, like I love all that old stuff, like World War II history. Like I have 303 British sporterized. Like they don't even allow us to like get newer stuff sporterized to like try and like you can't have like bolt action sporterized anymore unless it was like, yeah, it's just really stupid. But yeah, thoroughly enjoy the culture, and like it took a lot of effort and a lot of keeping myself out of trouble my whole life, not being a criminal, and like because
yeah, it's really hard to get a firearms license there, right? Like it takes a long time.
Yeah, if you're smart, you get it while you're young, but you lose it for any stupid thing.
Yeah. I don't need a firearm license. I don't. I can open carry, concealed carry, whatever I want. I don't need a license or a permit to do that.
So there is a misconception in Canada. We can do open carry, but like not like we're not allowed to use it for anything. So, like, if you wanted to hobo hitchhike your way to the gun range or somebody's private property they have a legal backstop at, you're more than welcomed during daylight to have like SKS slung over your shoulder.
Illegal that you need
You have to in Canada. You have to.
You've lost control of your politics.
Well, it's been Justin Trudeau, blackface Justin Trudeau has been in charge of our bullshit and changing all our gun laws overnight on us, like literally. So you have to play like with the fucking stupid semantics.
I understand.
I can't wait till he's gone. I want to see conservative Canada back because like guys have had in Canada, guys have had like a B&E, and guy uses his own physical strength, protects his family, doesn't use any type of weaponry, but restrains him till the cop gets there. Inside his private property that he broke into, he goes to jail for assault. The guy who owns the property that protect his wife and his children from the guy breaking into his house.
That sounds
without using any
like California.
Yeah,
like California.
I think
this is in Ontario. This is in Ontario that it happened, which is supposed to be like, you know what I mean, a place that we're the most southern part of Canada.
Yeah,
and it's terrible.
I don't know how many states we have that stand your ground. Do you know, Grid?
I don't know because I live in one and I don't.
California, they had some. I don't know if
it's not all that important. That's not really what I got into the chat for. It was like more or less to talk some shit, right? I just obviously wanted to ask about like, so Ben, right?
Yep.
Is that what it says?
Yep.
All right. What's your longest shot? Like, have you even shot a gun?
I've never even shot a
or
gun.
It's like that.
Wait, what?
Yeah, and you're American, and you're American. Yeah. You're American. You're American, and you haven't shot a gun?
I'm American light.
No, you're American non-alcoholic.
Yeah, no, I've never shot a gun.
Ben, how old are you?
That's gay.
I'm too old to not shoot a gun, I guess. I'm 30.
What? I gotta ask, man. Did you grow up in California or New York?
No.
Oh.
Then you have no excuse. You're 30. So like I'm 34, so which means that you were born like before like what? You're 95.
94, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 91. And dude, you're more bitch than a Canadian. Can you even grow a beard?
Not funny, like yours, no.
It's funny.
I know Greg can grow a monster beard.
I've run into a lot of people that have just never shot. They've just never. It's just never been anything they like get into. And then I always offer to take those people to the range. Like
same.
I have.
It's on my to-do list.
Yeah. Are you in a state that allows that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Even in Canada, we're allowed to let unlicensed people to a legal backstopped range. We're allowed to instruct other people as long as we have our firearms license. It's called something different in Canada, but anyways, as long as we have our license that we have to go to a class, it's just pretty much a money grab. It's like $200. It's built so a 16-year-old can pass. Because that's listen, but we just have to be close. We just have to be close enough to touch you by the shoulder to instruct you properly to make sure that you don't accidentally spin around with a loaded gun and blah blah blah. Anybody's allowed to teach you as long as you have the license in Canada, which is like it's stupid to have a license to have to do it because it's like mostly common sense. That's what they teach us in the classes. It's like you got to be retarded to fuck it up.
My son's been shooting sporting clays and trap and skeet since he was 10.
Yep.
But
the youngest one that we taught to shoot, the bolt action. I'm talking to you, Grid. There, you know the bolt action 22s.
Yeah, those little
like the youth. Yeah, the youth 22s. Like Mossberg made some
youth shooting class.
The youngest one that we taught, like family based of people that like in our friend group, was he was 5 years old. And there was a lot of supervision just to be sure. Kid was in love with it. Just just shooting 22s.
Sure.
It's a cap gun, really.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah, I started teaching my son at 4 years old about guns, and he started shooting probably when he was 5 or 6. And he,
yeah.
I used to teach a 22. I used to teach a youth firearms class, mostly aimed towards competition. And actually, one of the guys I taught, he's actually won a lot of stuff. He's really good.
That's really cool.
So, what's
the allows it part of it? It's really interesting. The allows it part of the conversation, like everything you're talking about is insane to me. Like everything. Like, first of all, I have whatever gun I want. Like,
yeah,
I have to pay the tax stamp or something. That's annoying, but I know I can do it. And I have
the wrong words.
The reason that the reason this gun right here is so short looking is because the suppressor is not on it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a bullpup, so it's short anyway. But the reason it looks like so the reason it looks kind of funny like that is because the suppressor is not on it. It looks way better when the suppressor is on it.
Yeah,
but
I have a couple bullpup shotguns that are like they're hard to do skeet shooting with, but it still gets done if you get quick on the aim. You know what I mean? And semi-auto, but we're not allowed fully auto. And like, yeah, I know it to us over here, the real Canadians, the ones that want conservatives.
Crazy when you talk about this stuff. Let's kind of apply this in some other areas in like the different in the dichotomy between the U.S. and Canada, right? So. Angel Berber's right. Like most of your politicians sound like classic liberals at best, and
no, they're worse.
No, I said at best they sound like a classic liberal. You never get to like an actual conservative politician, and I have to wonder if it's just that Canada is such a socialist
communism
country. It's borderline communist for sure.
I would argue that
they would rather listen. This is actually a real thing that actually happens in Canada. They'd rather a bear and a timber wolf drag off your child than have the township armed with firearms, properly trained, ethically trained, and know how to hunt.
Yeah,
they would rather.
No, it's fine. I was just going to say I would argue that conservative politicians today in America are much like the liberals in the 90s. So I think it's
true.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you can, there's various theories as to why that is, but personally, I think it's because we have this perception that we're so wealthy. My phone's dying. That we should be able to afford it. And you always hear that, right? So when people don't, and tell me if you've experienced this, Ben, I see this all the time. Maybe it's just me. Every time someone starts talking to me about social programs, I'm like, hey, I mean, who's going to pay for that? It's really expensive. Well, we're the richest nation in the world. We should be able to afford it. Right. Be able to afford it. I'm like, okay, well, sure. We do pretty well, but why should I, because I achieved something, why should I give a bunch of money to a bunch of people who haven't?
Right. No, I think it's a whole entitlement situation. People are entitled to particular social, especially when it comes to healthcare, which I honestly, I think the main thing, if I were a Democrat, the main thing that I would try to push if I were them to try to win in 4 years is going to be healthcare. I think it's a strong argument for socialized healthcare, although I think having it privatized is significantly better. I think eventually enough people are going to be upset about I think people are already upset about the healthcare system.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that would be I think that's becoming a losing position. And here's why. Yeah, here's why. Because people are looking at the VA hospital, for example. They're looking at all of these socialized programs that we have now, your dentist, all of this stuff. And they really don't understand, or pardon me, they don't like what's going on, and they're just now starting to understand how bad it truly is. And especially and people, all you really got to do is point to the VA hospital and how bad it is. And it's a government run, it's socialist, it's free, it's basically communism in a can. And it's so horrible. Now, what people that are dyed in the wool say, well, they're just not doing it right. But most people are now starting to say, yeah, I don't really want, so I like my boutique healthcare. I like going to this dentist or this dentist or whatever. The problem is you have, if I really thought that there was any kind of syndicate, cabal, plot against America, it would be between doctors in the healthcare system and politicians. And here's why that is. Because we had pretty damn good healthcare that was at a relatively low cost, right? Because people had to pay. They had to pay in cash, and therefore when you went to go pay for something, when you went to go get your tooth pulled, you didn't pay $500 to have a tooth pulled. You paid $20,
right?
Because it was $3 worth of Novocaine and 10 minutes of the guy's time, right? Now, because they know the insurance will pay for it, they know the government's going to pay for it, they know all of this stuff. What do? A tooth extraction is now $500-$600. Why? Why is that? They're not doing anything different. It's the same shot of Novocaine. It's the same guy with a set of pliers. It's the same 20 minutes. Why is it $600? I don't know. But and so what you're going to see is the more they try and push this socialized healthcare, it's not socialist healthcare. What it is government funded healthcare, which enriches doctors in the medical industry, not doctors specifically, but the medical industry, the people who pay the doctors and the hospitals and the companies and investors of those hospitals. And this is where this is where true reform would really be wonderful. It would be wonderful if investors, if privatized hospitals could not receive government funding of any kind.
Interesting.
Because right now there's zero motivation to do anything about healthcare.
The price, right?
Nothing.
And what's interesting is the further
Holy
south.
Shit, Chuck, are you fucking kidding me?
Whoa!
What the fuck? See, this is what I'm talking about. This is a fucking perfect example right here. It's a perfect example. Like, this is unethical. This is absolutely this is robbing from our this is robbing from society. GGG, it's up to you, man. If you want to hop on, that's fine. But this is this is why people want socialized healthcare, because they feel like they're getting it for free. And the politicians and the hospital investors and administration and the people who run these now corporate hospitals, Kaiser Permanente, right? Do you think that that's a foundation that actually is like fully private, or do you think the majority, probably 80 to 90% of their income, is directly from government or insurance companies?
Yeah, probably the latter. But yeah, the whole thing is screwed up, especially when you hear cases where, somebody cost them, $1,000 for something because they haven't met their deductible. But if they didn't have insurance at all, it was going to be free. Like, things like that is crazy.
Well, see, I have the exact opposite experience. So I've had now, not me personally. I'm talking about my that was the cash price he paid.
That's crazy.
Holy fuck. So I have a friend of mine, and I'm not suggesting anybody do this. Okay. I think this only works for this dude. I have no idea how he fucking does it. I've never done it. I've just watched him do it over and over again. He will go in and he'll get whatever procedure that he needs done, and he doesn't go for frills or fluff or anything like that. You know, he just kind of goes in, gets what he needs done. When they send him the bill, he doesn't pay it. And they send the bill for like 6 months and he won't pay it. And finally he'll contact the billing office and say, look, I want to pay cash. What's the cash price to settle the bill today? And they will literally take dimes on the dollar. Yeah. Like if it's a $30,000 bill, he'll pay $3,000.
Well, and if you ask for an itemized bill, even, right?
Yeah, right. And he's like, hey, if you want me to pay the whole thing, I need it itemized and I need a justification for each charge.
Yep.
And
yeah, they settle for like 1/10 of the cost.
Yeah,
crazy.
No kidding. He showed me, it was something like 33, blah, 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 a whole bunch of fucking numbers. $1,000 he settled for like $3,000.
Right. Yeah.
And so I'm a bigger believer in all of that than ever before. And I've heard all of the arguments about how, you know, they have to charge X amount for these procedures because they're a research hospital and that money goes to support the research. But then the same research hospitals will have drive after drive after drive, charity drives to fund their research, and they'll get money from the United Way to fund their research. It's just a big fucking scam. Healthcare in this country, healthcare in the world right now, but especially in the United States of America, is a fucking scam.
So
it is
when
crooked.
Well, when we talk about
mob, if Elliot Ness was alive, he would be cracking heads at Mercy General Hospital.
So when we talk about Democratic front runners, I don't know why, but I don't hear Jon Stewart's name brought up nearly as much as I did a few months ago. He's a big proponent. Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart. Okay, yeah.
Like, yeah, and he talks a lot about. I think I don't listen to him much at all, but I think he talks a lot about this kind of stuff as well with healthcare.
He's talking about it from a in theory moderate Democrat point of view, right? Like he's not a conservative.
No.
And so he's talking at it from the opposite side of me.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of says a lot of the same things.
Right. I could see somebody like that potentially trying to leverage the current healthcare system to be pretty popular. I don't know exactly who's going to be the front runner. Nobody does, but they actually asked Sam Cedar on PBD today who he thought would, is somebody who he would vote for or would want to run for president. And he had a difficult time naming anybody. Not Bernie, not AOC, none of them.
Well, Bernie is too old. AOC,
that's what he said.
Andy won't do it.
Right.
He'll run, but he'll drop again just to take. I have something for this. Hang on. This is exactly who Bernie is, by the way. I don't generally like. I mean, I don't mind being mean, but this is perfect because it is so accurate. But I think Buttigieg is going to be the runner.
Pete Buttigieg,
yeah.
Pete Buttigieg.
I think Buttigieg. I think he feels like it's time, right? I think he feels like it's his time to shine.
You think so?
Yeah. Well, that's why all right. So I thought that because it was going to be such a losing ticket with Kamala Harris, I thought that for sure it was going to be. Originally, I thought it was going to be Buttigieg and Kamala because that's a double whammy. That's the gay and the female vote. 100%. I was like, oh yeah, this is what's going to happen, and but it didn't, and I was pretty shocked. And then I started thinking about it. And I'm like, you know what? What the thing is that he wants to make a run at president, and he didn't want to tie himself to an effort that he knew would lose.
Right.
But this is Bernie, right? Bernie will enter the next presidential race. He will get a bunch of money from donors, and then he'll withdraw with like $10 or $15 million in campaign contributions.
Wouldn't surprise me. I'm surprised. No, I just thought about it. I'm surprised nobody brings up that the Jewish guy from Pennsylvania. I can't remember his name. that everybody was in love with and thought Kamala would pick him.
Not fuck it. It's Shapiro, but it's like John Shapiro, Jim Shapiro, something like that.
John Shapiro, I think is what his name is. Yeah. So because people were high on him as being the VP pick, and then they said, maybe she didn't pick him because again, it was kind of a losing battle for her, and he didn't want to be tied down to a losing battle. I'm surprised his name isn't getting brought up as a front runner. I don't know why.
I don't think they like him that much. And I think that I think that they feel like that he lost him the election. Whitmer comes to mind. Whitmer could run.
God.
I don't think she could win, but she could run.
Yeah, she's horrible.
Yeah, she's absolutely horrible, which is why she'll probably do it. So I always thought Newscomb was going to be the guy.
He's too shady. I don't think people like him, especially with his podcast.
The problem with Newscomb, actually, to your point that he's kind of shady.
Yeah,
is he's that guy that, like, the problem with Newscomb is so they were going to run him with Kamala, but he was still being and Angel Berber can help me out with this. He was in court proceedings for all of the money they spent on the train to nowhere, and he barely escaped being found guilty on that.
Wait, what is this?
The $1 billion train in California that I think it's $12 billion, but whatever they spent on this stupid ass train, that it's 100. I think it's not even 100 miles of track. Their high speed light rail train,
right?
Their high speed Japanese train. I think it's got 100 miles of track. Nobody uses it. It's the biggest waste of taxpayer resources ever. Well, Newscomb was called into court for it, and basically he's been in court once, and I don't know how he got out of it. I honestly thought that he was going to go to jail, right, or at least be removed as governor. And I don't know how he got out of it. He got out of it, but there's a second case. There's still a pending case right now for the same thing. It's just a different group that's done it, and I think they have a real chance of if he doesn't go to jail, he'll probably be have some sort of deferred judgment or something where he can't run.
He's right.
He's under DOJ investigation now for the management of the funding of that project.
Gotcha.
And he's already been in court once about it. I mean, it's tough for him because I'm sure he wants to be part of that, but the reality is that the more attention he calls to himself, the worse it's going to be, and the more people are looking at him. And I just don't feel like that he's going to. I just don't feel like he's. I don't think he's viable anymore. I think that they wanted him to be. I think that was the plan.
Well,
I think the plan was that it was going to be Newscomb.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, it's 4 years away, and in political terms, that's like 100 years. Sure. So,
yeah,
and it was Josh.
This is literally my impression of Gavin Newscomb, right? That's
giving him so much credit.
That's every time I think of Gavin Newscomb, this is what I think of. I think of a drunk ass raccoon.
You needed to be a weasel. That's what you need.
This is what I mean. Well, I can't help it.
You need that raccoon to be a little bit more gay, though.
We don't know that we don't even know that raccoon.
You're talking about Gavin Newsom or whatever, right?
Yeah, Newscomb.
Sorry.
So it's okay.
Yeah. It's like it's like him and Vosh. Like I feel like they're butt buddies.
Yeah.
They both have good hair.
He's
like Vosh, if you know who I'm talking about.
I don't know if you guys have read this, right, or not, or seen the articles, but somebody did a survey or something as to why people voted for Newscomb in the last election, and it was overwhelmingly women voted for him.
Yep.
And overwhelmingly the reason they did is because they felt like they could trust him. He had a nice smile.
Right, the halo effect. There you
Not even fucking lying a little bit. Like, not making that shit up. No, Beth, I did not see his new speeding ticket policy. I did not.
Hey, Grid, just that statement you made alone, I don't think women should vote.
What's that?
Just that statement you made.
That thing that you just mentioned. I don't
think he should vote. I don't think women should vote after hearing that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Prove what, Lindsay? What am I proving? I missed something. Who's
that women vote for handsome men that, regardless of their stature or what they care about, is just whatever looks at the shoulders up kind of thing. It's the same thing, the plague that Canada's been dealing with Trudeau.
Lindsay voted for him. Lindsay didn't. I don't think Lindsay voted for New Scum.
That's true. Trudeau's a good example of that as well. Yep.
Okay, I didn't say
it's the same reason why Trudeau got to run this goddamn country in Canada for so goddamn long.
God, man, I tell you, this is so you guys understand that laws are for
the weak.
No, laws are only for the rich. This proves
laws apply to the weak.
Poor people get up to 80% off. Fines will be based on income. Do you know
so
why?
It's like Romania.
I used to drive through California, and I used to get pulled over all the time because I drove a pretty nice car. I got pulled over all the time, and I get a ticket, and it was usually some little bullshit ticket, and because they know I'm gonna pay for it. I've watched dudes in like the crappiest cars do the same shit. The cops don't even look at them. You know why? Because they know they don't have any money, and they're not gonna pay the ticket, so they don't give a shit. So,
well, it doesn't work like that in Canada. The poorer you are, the faster they are, because they made everything a criminal charge. Like a DUI is a criminal charge in Canada. Most parts of Canada.
Yeah, it's a criminal charge.
It's the same here.
DUI,
DUI
in my state,
but you can't just pay it away. You can't just pay it away. You can't.
In Tennessee, it's
and they don't ask for jail, so you can't. They steamroll the poor people.
Coming out of my mouth. In the state I'm in, and we're not the most strict, but we were at one time like third in the nation strict on the DUIs. We're pretty rough on them. It was a mandatory year in jail.
Oh, wow.
It can be deferred for your first offense, but your second offense, you were spending time in jail. Regardless, if you get if you get a DUI, you are going to jail for 2 to 3 days. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just being arrested. You could be caught with an open alcohol container in your hand, not drunk, but just your first beer that you just cracked, not drunk, not breathalyzed, and you'll spend up to 3 days in a prison cell, a jail cell, whatever, right? Like a holding cell, the drunk tank, while you're sober, without any evidence, be handed a fine after you're done dealing with them, without driving or nothing, and you'll be captured and detained essentially under your guys' laws in America, absolutely illegally, for well over 48 hours of detainment, without investigation, without letting you do sobriety tests, without doing breathalyzers, and they will write a fine for whatever they feel justified. If a lawyer shows up, your fine doubles. And in Canada, right? So for like, if you're driving, the cop's discretion, as long as it's not a township cop, if it's what they call an OPP or an RCMP, there are different branches, but it goes upwards of like the level of power that they have. So the city cop, like a Hamilton cop, it's just the name of a city in Canada. They pretty much have like no authority, blah, blah, blah. Then it goes up to a provincial cop. So if you're in Ontario, it's OPP. If you're in Quebec, it's the QPP. And then once it goes up past that, these are the people that handle our firearms and our firearms hunting licenses and all that kind of crap. federal people. They're called the RCMP instead of FBI and that kind of crap. Anyways,
I'm familiar.
So the city cop pretty much just lets you go with everything, and just gives you the micro fine. As soon as they're a provincial cop, they literally are holding you to wait to see if you have a lawyer. If the lawyer shows up, they haven't written, they won't declare or tell you what you're being arrested for. And if you start asking those questions, they'll put you in an isolation chamber that is only supposed to be reserved for high violent, sadistic people. In America, over here in Canada, is if you're intelligent and you ask questions, you're not even allowed a phone call. I've been held in a drunk tank while I wasn't drunk, just because I cracked a beer and they happened to see it in public, was not drunk, held over 48 hours, refused all phone calls, refused the stuff that we're supposed to be allowed to by the provincial police.
Too bad you guys don't have
I'm telling you, it is terrible. It is terrible. And I know it sounds like a guy who's like, well, I did nothing wrong. No, it's like, okay, they kind of caught me doing something wrong, which is like a $50 fine, but they can make it go up to $300 fine. And they hold you for long enough and don't give you access. They pretty much wait to see if you have anybody who cares about you enough to, like, they kidnap you. The provincial police in Canada will kidnap you in Ontario, Quebec, and at least over towards Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, will kidnap you. And if nobody shows up, nobody's looking for you, you got no wife, no dad, nobody looking for you, then after enough time, they'll let you go with the $50 fine. If somebody shows up or makes a phone call or reports you missing, then all of a sudden you get the maximum fine. So, and they're fishing for rich people. They have a quota here in Canada, and it's absolutely terrible and atrocious what they do to us. And the same thing works inside our legal systems. For a DUI, they won't even go for jail time, because then we can't get legal aid, because we can get legal aid, which is free to us. We don't got bail bondsmen to get out. And they refuse us our phone calls, at least specifically in Ontario.
Too
with
bad
my
you guys
experience.
don't have one of those Bill of Rights things to help you out.
Yeah, like a constitution, something that may protect your gun rights, your ability to protect yourself. You can protect yourself from a guy trying to stab you to death and end up in jail for 2 years.
You know what you guys need is a little more.
It's communism over. Damn right.
More America in your morning. What's up, Miggy?
Cheers to the fuck of that. That's why I'm saying, any fat American chicks out there, I'll marry you and I'll fucking move there tonight. I'll treat you right for 5 years. I won't even do a 3-month or 9-month marriage. I will fuck you right to get a green card in America.
Calm down. Miggy, hypocrite. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in before, so that's interesting. Tim E, fuck Canada. You can. I don't know, man. You might get something on you. That may not come off. It's unfortunate that you live in Canada. I'm sorry to hear that. I actually dated this girl from Canada for a while once, and she was.
I could technically. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry, I'll shut up.
She was actually. She's actually. What did she do? She was a traveling nurse, which is the second red flag. So first red flag.
That's a huge red flag.
First red flag is Canadian. Second red or French Canadian. Second red flag.
French. Yep.
Second red flag was traveling nurse. It's all around. There was so many red flags. It was a sea of red flags as far as the eye could see. But so I dated this girl, and she absolutely loved being in America, and just had the worked exceedingly hard to stay in the U.S. And did all of the
good on her,
all of the things to be done, and but she was psycho. She was psycho,
You should.
Well,
I bet
women
you're
are
like,
always
Canadian.
crazy.
I will have your ass
Canadian,
deported.
just kind of the way it is. But it was interesting. The there's a I mean, she was really cool. She was really short, but she was really cool. And
short chicks are the best. I don't know why people underrate them. It's like being short as a guy, it's a tough world out there. I happen to be lucky enough to be tall, right? But I got German blood, so it's like tall hated guy.
I think
but
women are
short women are short women are awesome. No, I was saying I was tall, not women are tall. Like,
but you said
everyone
short
knows.
women are
Women
underrated,
are tall,
and I don't think they're underrated. I think
okay,
short women.
So I want to get back to what Ben and I were talking about. I'm sorry, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know that socialized healthcare is going to be a thing here in the next election cycle. Matter of fact, I think it might be the poison pill that people kind of avoid talking about. But again, it's 4 years away. You just don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know, and it's going to be tough to decide.
Socialized healthcare will not help fix anything. I promise you that. I've lived my whole life with socialized healthcare in Canada, and all it does is give the government power to tell you, no, you're not allowed to fix yourself.
Right. So I don't think
I'd rather take on debt. I'd rather take on debt than let my bones and my body rot and break away, because I've watched it happen to my fellow Canadians, my father, my uncles, hardworking blue-collar men that make good money, pay high taxes. Once you make like anywhere close to 6 figures a year as a blue-collar person, your tax rate of like your income gets 50%, and then you got to pay 15% on purchasing taxes, so sales tax. And then you literally only get to keep, like, if you're lucky, 35% of your wage, to even if you wanted to save it to buy a house or something. Unless you can claim to not be, if you're an immigrant, all this stuff changes, and like diversity and blah blah blah.
Yeah, we understand. Trudeau's fucked everything up. Ben, I'm sorry. What you were in the middle of saying something?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I also disagree that socialized healthcare is a good idea, but I think within the next 1 to 2 election cycles, I think what you might see happen is if you have some charismatic speaker like a non-shady Gavin Newsom who really hits hard on
like an Obama.
Exactly, and they hit hard on how screwed up the healthcare system is. And because the thing is I hear everybody, no matter what part of the political aisle you're on, complain about the costs and the expenses in healthcare. And I think because most people, they vote based off of emotion and not, thinking through it logically. So it's not a logical argument as to which, privatized healthcare, socialized healthcare, which is better. I think if you get a good speaker who can appeal to emotion regarding healthcare costs, I think that can be a very strong motivator for people to vote Democrat within the next couple election cycles.
I mean, I feel like it's interesting. I think it's
what happened to Obamacare.
True.
What happened to Obamacare?
Yeah, I remember Obamacare, socialized American healthcare. Everyone's entitled to healthcare, so says Obama.
It was never really.
I'm old enough.
The thing is Obama made a big deal about it, but it was never able to actually be implemented completely. And basically, to some degree, Trump modified it, and then it kind of, nobody calls it Obamacare anymore because nobody wants to be tied to it.
Can I ask a question that I don't really hear a lot of Americans talk about? Are you allowed to take a medical treatment, like a surgery for your arm or your leg or whatever, something that you really absolutely need done? It's limiting otherwise you end up on disability, right? Are you allowed to do a payment plan?
Yeah.
They'll give you the surgery and you take the debt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can do a payment plan. Well, that's a thing that a lot of Canadians think that you're just turned away with a broken arm, which I know isn't the truth, but I just wanted to hear
they won't turn away anybody.
Said live on a stream. that's a lot. What's inside Canadian people's heads is that you walk in with a broken arm and they won't fix you. It's like, no, you just get a bill. In Canada, we pay for a hospital ride.
They can't turn
Thank
you
you,
away.
and
Like,
I know that.
Even if you're an illegal immigrant, they still won't turn you away, right?
Right. Yeah. So
in Canada, they call me a conspiracy theorist for knowing that fact. But like nobody online ever talks about the fact that like your guys' hospital will fix you. They just hand you a bill. Well, in Canada, when we have to,
they don't hand you a bill. They will make you sign they'll make you sign a bunch of forms, and then eventually you may or may not, you will get a bill eventually, and they'll track you down. But again,
they do the same thing to us in Canada, but for other stuff like micro stuff, like the hospital. Like to go to the hospital in an ambulance isn't free. It's $100.
Oh, yeah.
If you call an ambulance and there's nothing wrong with you, we owe money for it. And they'll send it through debt collections and fuck our credit up and everything.
Yeah.
And it's like all sorts of stuff in Canada. Like we don't have 100% free healthcare. That's a complete fucking myth in Canada.
Yeah, that's why, I mean, there's some things that need to be reformed in healthcare that people have avoided doing because they it's not, I mean, it would solve problems. And I halfway agree with you, Ben. I think there's a big push to fix the system. The thing is I think most voting Americans understand that you're not going to be able to go to a socialist healthcare system and it work. So they're never going to vote for it. Again, they voted for it with Obama. It sucked. There were all kinds of problems. I'm sure that you could get another Obama in who could convince people and sway them.
You should see what Canadian hospitals look like away from the border. It's literally like a jail buzzing system. You could be in there with a heart attack. You got to press a button on a wall, not talk to a human. You don't even get triage. You'll be in there for over an hour suffering from a heart attack with a fever of over 104 and the nurses don't care. They're literally they'll get fired if they care. That's what socialized healthcare is. And this is out of Southern Ontario, the closest to the American border.
Got something going on
that most people
here.
they treat foreigners better than they treat us.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right. I think maybe there's a lag, or maybe your earphones you don't get, when people are trying to talk, you don't hear them. So what's going on with Angel Berber and Lindsay? What's up with that?
I don't know, but I want to say it started with the whole Gavin Newsom. Like Lindsay might have voted for him for something. I think that's how it started.
I don't think she voted for him. I mean, she might have, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's been kind of fun to watch.
It's really interesting because it was just like this. They're just flying back and forth at each other. So I think Lindsay took offense to the fact that I said that a survey showed that most of Gavin Newsom's voters were women, and most of them, when asked, claimed that it was because he had a nice smile. And I think she took so I don't know if
I think that's something that Andrew, I don't know if Andrew Wilson like explicitly brings that up, but he also will use the justification, I didn't want to vote for Kamala because that's my preference, and because she's a woman and that's my preference. I don't want a woman president. And so because I think he does bring up the fact that people vote for people based off of just arbitrary reasons and preferences. So I definitely believe your survey.
So
am I on time here?
Hold on. In 2021, the LA Times ran a survey that said women voters want to keep Newsom in office. A nonpartisan poll finds that 62% of likely women voters approve of California Governor Gavin Newsom, while only 43% of men do. That's not 100% of voters, and it's they had 100% of women, 62% of that 100% like him. And out of 100% of men surveyed, only 43% like him. Yeah, so I'm looking for the smile comment. That may be a couple of years out of date, but I do think that's very fun, very telling. Correct.
Yeah, but I would also say I don't remember where I heard this from, but you look at some of Trump's cabinet and appointees, and some of them, man or woman, are just objectively good looking. And somebody made the point that that's not an unimportant thing. It sounds unimportant. Yeah, it is a big deal. Appearance, halo effect. You want because they're representations of us. And when you're dealing with other countries, you want your best and brightest. And part of that is your appearance, unfortunately. So, yeah. Or fortunately, I don't know. I think it's just a fact.
So I'm curious there. What do you mean by halo effect?
I just mean there's preferential treatment to people who, I don't know if it's just based off looks, but in several different contexts, if somebody looks good, has a nice smile, things like that, you assume the best. So job interview, the more attractive person.
So do you mind if I tone? Do you mind if I tone police you for a sec? You're starting to give off like that gay affectation kind of tone of voice, where you're like, "Well, if somebody's good looking, if somebody's the best," and you also took a quite a dig at Andrew there just a little while ago.
Well, at least I'm not drunk at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so
I spent 8 hours working. Do you work a night shift or a day shift or a job at all?
I don't have to work night shift, so I'm doing pretty well.
So you don't have to work. So trust fund?
I don't have to work night shift.
Okay, so you work a day shift?
I don't work
blue collar,
salary.
White Ooh, salary, white collar. That must be nice, eh?
Bro, you're Canadian. I'm not going to take anything you say seriously. I'm sorry.
Why is that? Because the mountain men aren't worth taking serious?
How much have you had to drink today? I'm just wondering.
I'm just wondering, why is it that you're looking for a guilt for your inadequacy?
Cool. All right. Well, I don't think you even understood any of my points. I don't know how that was a dig at Andrew anyways, but
what do you mean points? Like, there wasn't no points. Like, this isn't even a debate.
I think
but you did try and sneak in like a dirty, like underhanded comment against like Andrew. And the guy's just a good man. He's a family man. Like, like can't you wish to be something like that? Like that like
that wasn't a okay, what was my dig?
It wasn't a dig at Andrew.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, let's leave it to the chat.
No, well, just real quick, the point I was making was that I believed
I know it's got to be all this stormy weather. Everybody's kind of triggered today. Let me define the halo effect for you. Halo effect is a bias or cognitive impression that's very positive towards a person, company, product, or brand that you elevate it above other brands not because of any inherent goodness, but just because it looks good, their packaging looks good. They're like, you can take, for example, you could buy 2 tents, and one tent comes in a nice package, says Eureka on it. It's got a picture of some hot chick out there cooking her breakfast in front of this tent. And looks good, right? And the other tent is exact same tent, exact same manufacturer. Everything's exactly the same, except it comes in a brown bag, or just wrapped in brown paper. It's taped up, and that's it. So the one that nine out of 10 people are going to buy is the one that in the box with a hot chick on it.
So comparable to the halo effect would be if I was from America and didn't tell people I was from Canada, that I would have a different packaging, and maybe I wouldn't be considered as being so dumb by Ben himself. Am I hold on, is the halo effect expressly a positive or a negative thing?
It's a
Or can
positive
it,
bias
like,
based off of appearance.
Yeah, it almost has to be positive.
so you can't get the halo effect of so if there was a female saying the same words that I was saying and get a negative effect, can the halo effect
that's
be
a perfect example. So if a plain looking dude comes out and says, "Hey everybody, come on, we're going to go do this," a few people might follow him. You have a hot chick come out, dressed to the nines, looking great, hair's done, everything's perfect, and she says, "Hey everybody, we're going to go do this." People are going to go do it. That's exact that you've just defined the halo.
Okay, so the halo effect's the positive effect of perceived notion, right?
Yeah,
so what's the name for the opposite of the halo effect? Devil horns?
Yeah, I guess it would have to be. I've never heard an actual term for the opposite, but I feel like that would be
it would be the
well, if there has to be a positive, there has to be a negative, right? Like even with electricity or any type of perceived there's force and then there's repercussion.
You can call a reverse halo effect, which is sometimes known as, I just looked this up, as the horn effect or devil effect. This happens when single negative judgment influences other dissimilar characteristics. For example, if you tend to arrive at work late because of a difficult commute, your coworkers may assume that you're lazy, disengaged, or inefficient.
Yeah.
So Ben gave me the opposite of the halo effect because I'm Canadian and American.
No, he
gave me the horn effect while I was asking about the halo effect.
No, he's probably just, basing out at this point. It would be more basing his judgment on what you say. So he may just not be particularly impressed.
Well, and
we talked about
visual objects. And the fact that I said that I drank and that I was from Canada, then he just tried to put me down. He tried to give me the horn effect.
No, those
the
are
opposite of the halo effect.
Targets. Those are not part of
somehow I'm believing his story about getting arrested for drinking. Somehow I don't,
I believe all,
give me the horn effect all day long, buddy. I don't care. Like, I can't see you, so like I don't know. I did accuse you of being gay though, and I think I was pretty right. And then you started doing the voice affectations.
I think you're just projecting what you want, and I'm not gay. Sorry.
Oh, I'm projecting. Okay, you're sounding kind of liberal. Is that more projecting?
So anyway.
Are you getting drunk there, buddy? No, it's okay, man. Like, I'm not mad at you. I'm just like,
get drunk
you kind of took it to it.
Hey,
you kind of took it to a debate space thing. Not me.
Get Clover Tech the link. I want to talk to him about GunCon. So we got to get
the horny effect.
Yeah, it's not in California.
Hey,
or
hey, Grid. You've been
not in Canada either.
Hey, Grid, you've been a great host. I can't see any of the chat, what goes on over there or anything like that.
You're on your phone? Yeah, it's
yeah. I'm poor as hell. I go to work, man. That's what non-trust fund baby people do. But Grid, you've been a great host. I'm gonna hop off for a while. I got like half a beer left, and then I got to go to sleep and buy more booze because that's what Canadians do.
Hell yeah.
Thanks a lot for having me though, Ben. Hey, no hard feelings, and sorry if it came off that way. I know, like, my tone of voice and my beard and my manliness. Good, bro.
I don't give a shit. It's good to you're good.
Yeah, man. Like, I wish nothing but the best for you guys. Thanks, sir, Grid. I appreciate it.
See ya. Naomi is in the chat. Naomi, where's Mikey? Is he still alive? What did you do with Mikey? What did you do with Mikey? There's Clover Tack. There. Now we got it. We got it going on. What's up, man?
I don't know. Been busy.
Busy?
Yeah, been busy. Yeah.
Well, okay.
March was pretty slammed recording the podcast
Dude,
season.
I've
and all
been
that
wondering
mess.
what happened to you. You were here and then you weren't here. And I'm
Well, it just so here's the thing. I have a life. I have my own endeavors and whatnot. So sometimes that takes over. My life is
the
not
look of incredulity should
the hoodie, huh?
never mind. I was very
Incredulous.
incredulous about your assertion that you've been busy.
Oh wow! I just noticed my icon is like the old one. That's weird.
Yeah, it looks good.
What happened? That's the old one. That's like forever ago. What the hell?
Mikey, are you and Naomi going to come up and chat? Are we calling them Mikomi now? Oh, that is awesome. That is so good.
I like it. Mikomi.
I like it. That's funny. So where is GunCon this year?
Cleveland.
What?
Yeah, GunCon's Cleveland. Yeah.
Why Cleveland?
Because, do you want the short version or the long version?
I don't care which version. I just want to understand why anybody would go to Cleveland.
So the venue cost has to be, of course, just right, because GunCon is not fucking SHOT Show, or NRA, or GOA for that matter. We're not talking about millions and millions of dollars they can spend on shit. And then second of all, it had to be in a place that was a decent enough range for the range day, and within a certain distance and all that of wherever the venue is going to be, right? So you don't want to book a venue and then have your range be 2 hours away or some crazy shit. Like that makes no sense, right? Or even an hour away is really, and most of them are pretty close. They're pushing it. Most of the events, right?
Yeah.
But it had to grow. There was no room to grow. Last year, it was actually over capacity, waiting list for not only attendees, but exhibitors. It was just and it couldn't do anything else there in Iowa. And honestly, Cleveland, while I don't know that Cleveland sucks as bad as Hot Atlanta, which is where NRA is going to be at the end of this month, but when you're talking about Bumfuck Egypt, Iowa, which is where it has been being, talking about GunCon, at least there's places to go and hang out and other things that can be done. Like literally, there's a few fast food joints, and there's like motels in where it was at before. Like there ain't even really hotels to speak of. So you're talking about it was like 2 hours from Des Moines was like the closest airport, and so it's a little closer to the East Coast. So some of those folks may be able to get out there, as well as what folks down, I guess, Kentucky way and some stuff like that, where you need to be going. And I encourage you to go to GunCon because GunCon's fucking awesome. But you need to be going to Knoxville for goals. And
I plan to.
That's in August, though. Actually, you need to fucking go to all of them. So, but that's my opinion.
Okay.
We'll show you a good old DJing time.
Okay. So, interesting. So are we going to get, I may have missed the answer because I was trying to understand what was going on with GunCon there. But are we going to get Mikey? Mikey says, no, I'm eating. Then we're going to go have some drinks. It's early in the day for that, by the way. We will come up sometime this week. Okay, good. You guys got to come up. The week's almost over, though. Just want to let you know. So, yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah. So what else have you been up to? I know you. I saw you
bitching about the fucking postal service. So I had I've got a handgun that was shipped out late last week. I don't remember, and originally showed the delivery date is Tuesday, and then so Sunday rolls around, and then like the tracking info just stops. Like there's nothing. And Monday rolls around, no changes. Tuesday, which was the projected delivery date, or it still said that was the delivery date, rolls around, still no changes. That at that point, I contacted the person who sent it, which was incidentally is a dealer, but that's neither here nor there, and let him know. He made some calls. Well, people don't like the fucking gun prattle. I come up and everybody bails. It's just me. Anyway, so he makes some calls. I'm assuming he knows some people with the post office or whatever. Nothing changed Tuesday. Nothing changed yesterday. This morning, I check it and it shows delivery for tomorrow. So fingers crossed we'll fucking see. But I've got 2 others waiting, and I haven't went and picked those 2 up because I was waiting on this third. I don't want to go and I don't want to make multiple trips to the gun shop. That's stupid. So hopefully Saturday I'll get to go pick up. I'm gonna say not 3 new guns, but new to me. Let's just say Saturday.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you've been having some fun anyway.
Yeah, when I can. Fucking weather, man, it's been nuts here.
Yeah, what's it been like there?
April. Well, March was windy as fuck. Like, and I'm talking about tropical storm force fucking winds, and it's insane, dude. And so the rain and stuff like that was but man, like the rain, dude, the last several weeks, just insane, man, just insane. Seems like every day there's a chance of rain and shit. And like, how do you plan things? Like the rain wouldn't be that bad, but if we've got rain and wind, because I've got the covered carport thing, right, that got put in over the 75-yard range area. Well, I can do most things there, right? It's enough room. I can do most things. But if the rain is blowing underneath there, you know what I mean? Like, it's like the fucking point. And obviously it's a metal carport. Like if it's thunderstorms and lightning and shit like that, I don't really want to be under there either.
I have it's not been like super weird around here lately, but it has been like we'll have no wind at all and have a great sunny day, and then the next day it's like 30 miles an hour gusting and and then every day they said it was going to rain and it hasn't rained yet. I'm like, okay, at some point it's going to freaking rain.
The thing is, it'll be like a severe weather alert day, right? And you'll fucking get nothing but some sprinkles. And then the next day is like, it's like 20% chance, and it literally comes a fucking monsoon. So like there's no, and I get it. Like weather people suck ass. We all know this. It's nothing new. It's been that way since I was old enough to watch the weather on TV. Fuckers didn't know what they were talking about,
right?
But it seems like they're off more than usual lately.
Right? Yeah, it's like on the opposite side of where it ought to be.
Yeah, I mean, typically it's like 50-50, right? But it's more like they're wrong 70% of the time, or maybe even 80 right now.
I think crazy. It's been pretty bad. I guess I should not complain. I mean, honestly, it has, it's not been a terrible
there's other things I can do, and I don't know, it doesn't do a whole lot of good to complain. I worked some on income tax yesterday evening, and I don't like too much, another hour or two, and I'll have all that finished up and ready to go. I was telling my wife, she's like, well, what do you think we're gonna owe? And I was telling her about this penalty that we ended up having, and some other stuff, which wasn't horrible, but You know, she was like, "Oh my God," and I'm like, "Yeah, it could be worse. It could always be worse." So
Yeah, no
you know,
doubt. It can always
we
be
could
worse.
not we could be sitting here owing that much and not have the money to pay it. You know what I mean? Like it's like we got the money to
Yeah,
pay it. Like it
100%.
sucks. I don't want to, but you know, grown up shit, right? Like
Right.
unfortunately, you
Yeah.
got to do it. You know.
So I don't know when you came in, but did you hear what we were talking about with the hospitals and the reform and all that being a big part of what's going to happen in the next election? The socialized medicine and healthcare.
No,
You
no.
didn't hear that?
I've
Okay.
been in and out a little bit,
Okay.
and I don't remember what you were
No, it's fine.
talking
It's fine.
about.
Yeah.
Canada,
Well,
maybe.
I just
Mostly
think
it
that
was fucking Canada. Seemed like.
yeah, the guy from Canada, he's a good guy, but he just he kind of went off on a few tangents, and which is fine. You know, things happen. It's not a big
Yeah, he
deal.
kind of looked like he needed to be on that. What's that Canadian show that's so funny? Can't even think of the name of it now.
I have no idea.
Folks out there in the chat probably know what it was. You know, with Shorzy and what the fuck is the name? It's on the tip
Terrence
of
and
my.
Phillip.
No. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of the. Damn it! Somebody out there in the chat probably knows what it is. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's funny as hell if somebody puts it
Ben
out there.
says Trailer Park Boys. Oh, Ben,
No.
Ben dropped down, man? That's unfortunate.
No, it was not Trailer Park Boys. It ain't that old. Damn it! What is the name of that? I gotta go look it up because it's gonna kill me.
Letterkenny.
Letterkenny. Bam! There you go. Somebody got it.
The Canadian got it. He understood. He understood the assignment.
Letterkenny. Got you. There's supposed to be a spinoff to that too, but great. I mean, if you like that kind of comedy, which I do, it's oh my god, it's hilarious. Anyway, hospitals. But yeah, I need context.
Yeah.
So what?
Well, I'm glad that you popped by. I've been, it's been a little dull around here without you, to be honest.
No, it hadn't. All these fuckers leave when I jump in because they're afraid of the gun prattle.
No, that's not true. Although we were doing mostly race car and
yeah, y'all were talking about cars earlier. Yeah.
You were talking race cars and
yeah. So we're talking about buying
yesterday, and literally like everybody was mad at me. And I was like, I don't care. I nuked my own stream. I torched it. Fuck all y'all. And it was
well, I tune out some when you start talking business, to be honest with you. I'm interested in my business, but I'm not really interested.
You don't give a shit about anybody else's. I
mean, I love you, but I don't fucking give a shit.
Hey, I understand, man.
That's your business. That's your business, right? Like I don't.
Well, no, I was talking about how I'm buying this business and how it's very difficult for people to talk to me about how bad the economy is right now. When like literally I went and looked at this business yesterday. I did a site visit and they're on fucking cruise control. They're doing about somewhere between 1 point something and $2 million a year in revenue. They're paying themselves pretty well. And we were doing the site tour. We started the site tour at like 2:30. Like literally everybody was leaving for the day at 2:30, and by the time we were done with the site visit and the sit down and talk to the owner and all that, we finished up like 4:15. There was nobody there but us. Making $2 million a year through that company, and they're like fucking phoning it in. I'm like, you can't. I mean, this is a state of it. So I honestly think that that's a problem in American society. We've gotten to the point where we make it so easy that a caveman can do it, and a fucking caveman when it's easy, he goes in and goes to bed. He doesn't get up.
I don't know. I think you just take it a little far sometimes. I think it's human nature to kind of become complacent.
Yeah.
And there's a certain amount of once you have taken a risk and gotten to a certain place, and you put in the work and you've gotten to a certain place. I don't necessarily fault people for just fucking kicking back and enjoying it. If they're able to keep their lifestyle, do the things they need to do, put money back, which is super important. That sort of thing. Then and I don't necessarily fault people. You don't have to have drive that you're constantly just making tons and tons of money, and I'm one of those people. That's why I'm talking, so I'm pointing at myself here, but you don't have to make tons and tons and tons of money and continue to do that and continue to buy businesses and continue to take risks. At some point you can enjoy fucking life. But to your point, and I think you're one of those fucking people, Grid, that for some people that's what they enjoy doing. So I'm not saying you don't enjoy life. I'm saying that's your idea of enjoying life. Right. And that's great. For me, I sold my business. I'm like, fuck this, I'm out. The YouTube thing has to pay for itself, so I've got to be somewhat serious about it and all of that. But at the end of the day, I just want to enjoy life and fucking have fun.
I get it. I understand it. I'm not arguing about it. I'm just saying that
some people jump off the boat too early, if that makes any sense, though. So to your point, right?
Yeah.
So they get it to a certain point, and then they don't ride it out for as long as they need to before they start becoming complacent with it. And I think that's problematic.
Sure. Yeah.
So I don't disagree.
Yeah, I just feel like it's well, I don't feel it's one of those things where I have I've observed that they're this very same people who will complain about how little money they make, how bad the economy is, how
fuck that. If they're complaining,
they can't get ahead. Their entire life is on fucking cruise control.
Yep. Yeah.
And they never take it off cruise control. Like, and I used to have this thing.
Drive, don't fucking complain.
I used to really observe this in people when people would just sit there and talk about something all the time and never actually do it. One of the things was like, for example, people would all the time tell me, "Oh, I want to go shoot a 3-gun match. What do I need?" I give them you don't need anything. Come on out. I've got all the equipment. I'll loan it to you. They'd never show up.
Yeah, it's got to show up. Yeah,
you just got to show up. They would never show up. They would, but they would be the guys haunting all of the forums, haunting all of the, they'd be on Facebook 24/7, what shotgun I should buy, what pistol I should buy, and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing is like, it's a fucking joke because you're never going to do it because you lack the motivation to, or you lack the sand, as my grandfather would say. You lack the sand to just show the fuck up.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I think it's getting worse.
It's no different, and I run into this all the time. I understand you'll get people in the chat and your comments and in real life, whatever, that whether it's through video games or movies or whatever, they're super interested in guns and shit like that, right? And they know a lot of book knowledge. They know a lot of stats and data. It kind of works the same with a lot of these fucking debaters and shit, right? They don't have any real world experience, right? That they can apply the knowledge that they have in their head to. Sure. Right? All they want is the knowledge. And it's like, okay, it's great. Shit. It's great that I know how to build a fucking doghouse, but until I build
Lord of Pies just insulted half of the men in America.
They're indoor cats.
He literally just called you fuckers indoor cats.
I don't disagree with that. Like, how many, all they do is play, and there's nothing wrong with playing video games, but how many spend way too much time on a couch playing fucking video games, right?
Have you been declawed as an indoor cat? Have you been declawed? Ooh.
But yeah, until you,
that's cold-blooded, man. I knew there was something I liked about Lord of Pies, but fuck, that's cold-blood. I like, I like somebody's just going to call it where it is. Everybody's indoor cat. Indoor cat's afraid to even wander the neighborhood. They won't go outside, man. It's scary out there.
Now, I play guitar to the Lord of Pies out there, and I'm going to tell you what, Guitar Hero and Rock Band. When my kids, I had kids at home at that time. We had so much fucking fun with that. Of course, I play guitar, but and have since I was a teenager. But I don't play well, but I do play. But oh man, just so much fun, so much fucking fun. So you can. I guess yeah, you're right. Yeah, I agree with him in the sense that the people that get so hardcore with it, it's like you realize you could have picked up an actual guitar and you could have been, creating music and possibly in a band and get out in the world and you could make some gigs and become sociable and all of this, but yet you just sit at home and tap on a weird looking controller all day, every day. That's
well.
strange.
Now I got two controversial things I want to.
No shit.
I want to throw out there. First is, what do you think of Phoenix Trinity's H Duty 2011s that they hype so bad that are like $5,000 new? What do you think about them blowing their barrels up?
I haven't really looked too crazy into that, so I don't know.
It literally just happened to a friend of mine after he had just said just a few weeks ago. Well, I know it's happening. I see it over on Brian Enos and other places that multiple people have had their H Duty and tax have problems with the barrel lug shearing, and he's like, but and they complain about the customer service and all of that. And he had just literally said, yeah, that's probably just a few people, it's not.
Yeah, I mean,
then his gun did it in like last week.
Yeah,
and it was to fix it. It was going to be $1,700.
Oof, that sucks. Usually the way it goes is you pay that fucking much money with the and customer service is pretty decent.
That is the rub.
So
you've identified the sticking point.
I would suggest my theory, okay, my working theory, not have being able to look into it much. Right, you've got loudmouths. The people that have problems are going to be the most vocal and the loudest, right? That's always the case.
Always.
And so it usually makes it seem a lot worse than it actually is. So first you have to realize that. But then second of all, when we're talking about 1911s, when we're talking about 2011s, in particular, I guess 2011s, because of just the way that the magazines feed and stuff like that. Then you complicate things with a 9mm on that upper platform, right? Which is totally different barrel style. And
before you go too far down this road, you understand that the thing that makes a Phoenix Trinity interesting and they claim better is that it uses a Glock style locking.
Well, exactly. That's where I'm headed that direction.
Right? All right, just make sure we're on the same page.
So when you take a platform and you change all of that, with the Glock style stuff, there's some engineering issues there that you're going to have to move material around and you're going to have to do some various things that particular platform and the way it operates is not inherently designed to do. And so, I don't know if it's just a byproduct of that. If it was a major design flaw, you would see more problems than you're seeing. I'm pretty convinced of that. Right. So, what I think is there's some type of a machine tolerance issue somewhere, or maybe a metallurgy issue, which could have to do, I don't know how Phoenix is set up to do it, which could do with that could simply do with raw materials, right? And a certain percentage there that is causing an issue. But it goes back into when you take and you start trying to radically change a design from what it was intended to be. A traditional double stack 1911 is literally a double stack 1911. It's a high power ish lower essentially with a 1911 upper, or slide.
Yeah.
So it's not that much deviation considering the high power is essentially the bastardized or however you want to call it cousin of the 1911.
I find it interesting because Phoenix Trinity for the last probably 10 years. They've been up and coming with this, they got that locking lug thing to work, and it does works great. And they had the original honcho, and it had the interchangeable barrels and all this stuff. And they do shoot well. I've shot one a couple of times. Yeah. To me, it's not better than a Link gun. And I think there's a reason why the gun's designed around the Link. And I don't know why they're shearing the lugs off of the barrels on the H duties, but it's a customer service aspect of it. And you hit on it. You spend $5,000 for something.
Yeah.
You expect a little bit of like,
there should be fucking white glove customer service. What the fuck you talking about?
Yeah, you expect a little extra. Yeah. And they and people have said that they're not getting it. It's terrible. And plus, so like if you buy a gun from Sheikai, which is a custom gun, and if you buy a gun that somebody had Shea build, and you have a problem with that gun, Shea's going to work with you to make that gun right. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to just be like, it's going to be 17. Well, you need a new barrel and a new slide, and it needs to be fitted, so that's $1,700. He's going to be like, hey man, sorry the slide cracked. They do that sometimes. I'll comp you the slide, but you got to buy the barrel. You got to pay for the fitting, so it's going to be $800 or whatever. Whatever it is. He's going to help. He's going to work with you. And I think that's the problem everybody's having with PT, and it's just symptomatic overall of several different companies in several different realms. I just wondered if you had heard about it. I know that it's becoming a bigger and bigger issue, and it's very interesting.
I think that once you get up into a certain price point, and especially I would say probably over like the $2,000 mark on things, on guns, right?
On guns, on pistols.
I think I would say almost anything, but I think you get a certain class of clientele, and the vast majority of those, I mean, they buy them and they don't hardly shoot them. And so let me back up and say it goes two ways, right? You got people that buy them and don't hardly shoot them. And then you've got people, there's no in between, is what I'm saying. There's no average Joe shooter really that's buying guns in that $2,000+ price range. It's the safe queen fuckers that might shoot a few rounds, a couple mags a year at most. And then you've got the hard, maybe competition guys that are using it, right? For that type of thing. And they just run them in the fucking dirt. And so the thing is, the competition, that's where you need to be looking if you're wanting something that's going to run and last and that sort of stuff. You need to be looking at what they're running, right? And not necessarily the models, but at least the brands, right? The companies. But people don't, and then they'll see this and it looks good. And as long as they put a mag, a year through the motherfucker or whatever, they're happy, and they sing the praises to it at the gun counter and everywhere else. Oh, I've got, XYZ, whatever fucking model, and it's badass, man. I love it. And they neglect to fucking tell them that I only run a mag a year through it.
Yeah.
Like I love my Tech 9. Love my fucking Tech 9. I've always loved the Tech 9. It's fucking badass. It's notorious as shit. It's a cool fucking gun. It's cool
looking for sure.
It's the biggest piece of shit on the planet, though.
It is also that. It is cool looking and it's a piece of shit.
It is so much fun. It is so collectible. It's so cool. It's got so much history. But there's no dancing around it. It's the biggest piece of shit on the planet. If you have an opportunity to pick one up nowadays for even $600 or $700, you probably should do it, because that's about half of what they seem to be going for. But just understand, you're buying a piece of shit when you buy
it. I mean, yeah, no, that's
and it's
right.
the same. And it's the same theory we were talking about with the high end stuff, right?
Yeah. It's interesting. It's just interesting stuff, right? Like I wondered, and I thought I know it's kind of controversial because nobody badmouths Phoenix Trinity. They have some manufacturers have fanboys. Phoenix Trinity has like straight up like gangsters.
It's people are going to badmouth if they have a bad experience, and that you've been in business long enough to understand that. And again, it goes back to somebody that's unhappy is going to tell 20 people, and somebody that's happy is going to tell 2 if you're lucky, right?
You know, the biggest problem I see business-wise on this deal is that, like my buddy, they told him it'd be $1,700 to fix the gun. He only paid, like, he bought it, I think, used for like $3,200 or $3,000 or whatever. So he's not going to put another $2,000 into it. So he's literally parting the gun out. Like, he's going to sell the grip, he'll sell the frame, he'll sell all the pieces. He won't get his money back, but he'll get some money out of it. And you know what? How bad it hurts your brand for people to see that. Like, that is death, man.
It's hard unless you know the people of the company, and you know the intricate workings of the company, and you have some behind the scenes. And most people don't. You know, when you hate on shit, you're making a very uninformed decision. Like the average person out there that's watching a fucking YouTube video, right? And even if you're listening to my opinions, right, you're getting third-hand fucking information, right? So you got to take all that shit with a grain of salt anyway, or you're supposed to. But you know, once you get to a certain point, and you're sort of that way, you know, a lot of industry, and of course I do too, and you know some of these people, you know, I can't sit here really and I can't. That's why I said I'm going to give some benefit of the doubt and some slack to them, because I don't know the guys. I don't know them, right? So like, I don't know, but
I've only talked to them a couple of times, and they were nice.
There are companies that I will go to the fucking mattresses for when people talk shit, because I know those folks. And when bad things come up and they start getting bad mouth, like, I know for a fucking fact it's horseshit. Now, being able to prove that, right? Short of, you know, somebody that wants to badmouth actually showing up to an event and fucking spending time with some of these people I know, ain't gonna happen. And that's a great segue. Thanks for that, by the way, Grid. That's another reason that every motherfucker out there should be going to events like GOA Goals or the NRAM event or GunCon or something like that, so you can get time and actually understand that the industry, that these are fucking people that run these companies, that build these guns, that do these things, and they're not afraid to tell you how it is or what's going on, if they're honest. And if they're not, well, then there you go. Now you know why people badmouth them. Look at SIG and their shit, right? Doubling down on the whole drop thing.
Oh, dude, that was crazy, man. That was crazy.
Stupid. It was stupid, dude. Just why did they just not just ignore that shit?
I don't know what advertising guy thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, it was dumb. That was so fucking dumb, man. And I'm sort of on the side of SIG with that, in that don't drop your fucking gun. You know, like, yeah, you treat your gun badly. You don't take, you know, you're not trained and paying attention when you holster, and when you know, pull it out, when you go back in the holster, you know, when, you know, that sort of shit. Like, please. So
have you, you know, this is that's all in response, since you bring it up, to the court proceedings where they were talking about how the there were supposedly officers that would have the guns discharged in their holsters in front of witnesses.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
I say supposedly because that's a pretty bold claim.
Yeah, right. No shit. Like, there's no way.
Pretty fucking bold.
No fucking way, dude.
And
mechanically,
I have seen that happen
speaking,
once.
there's no way.
I have heard of that happening once. But
well, I want to know the details.
It was not a SIG. It was a Glock, and it had a Zev trigger in it, and it had not. The trigger job was not done properly.
So it was barely, basically the sear and was barely hanging onto the striker, barely. Yeah, so it was modified.
It was.
Yeah,
I think what had happened is that, you know, it had a bunch of adjustments to it, and the one of the adjustments was fine initially, but then it didn't get cleaned for a while, and
Yeah.
that became a problem.
Well, whether you're hammered or striker fired, you've essentially got something that holds the firing pin back under force so that it can come forward hard enough, obviously, to set the ammunition off. And then you've got something that holds that force back. And so those are two surfaces that are connecting at some point. And yeah, if you modify, if you change, if you polish, if you do this, I mean, all fucking bets are off, you know. We'll use the term, the engineering again. There's an engineering balance when it comes to firearms. There's a certain amount of spring weight, and you try to do too good of a trigger job without changing springs or something like that, and you create something that's very unsafe. But that's not a factory stock issue. Now, could there be a manufacturing issue? And you're going to know that if you examine the gun. You know, you have it in your holster and just arbitrarily, like nothing is happening, right? I get it if it's in the holster and you get knocked down and you fall on the holster, or if you know, maybe if you jumped off of something fairly high, or maybe you was tussling to somebody and you smacked into the side of a car or something, like something to create force or whatever, on that gun, and there was like a faulty manufactured part or something, like that could happen. But you're going to be able to easily tell that's the issue. So anytime somebody says, "Oh, it just went off in a holster," my first question is it modified? And my second question would probably be, well, my first question would be, what are you doing? Second question would probably be, is it modified? Right? And usually one of those two is going to answer the question of why did it go off? Right?
Yeah. I haven't. I keep hearing about these videos of the SIGs supposedly going off in the holsters while they're, just while they're holstered and it's on video and all that. I haven't seen one that I actually believe, and I say that because I watched one and I can't remember who put it up, but it's a pretty big YouTuber or medium-sized YouTuber. I don't know what big is anymore. Gun tuber guy who he breaks down how in the video the belt line of the gun it's changed between the when it goes off and when it doesn't. And so there may be something at play there that is not.
I don't know. Anyway. Like I've done this before because I did it by accident, and it's absolutely repeatable. But I can take a 10-22 and I can make it where you don't even have to pull the trigger. You can bump the stock, like hit the back of the stock, like the butt stock, and make it go off. And so you're sitting there and you can hold it like with one hand and like smack it against your shoulder, and it'll go pop, 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 and you don't even have to pull the trigger. So again, that's not normal. So again, you get that's something that is abnormal. Now, if that abnormal is SIG is got a series, or maybe even it's a tolerance issue, kind of going back to the whole Phoenix thing, right? Maybe it's a tolerance issue having to do with some angles or something on some internal parts, right? Maybe it's getting a little overzealous with some polishing. Maybe it's always you also have to look at, well, how many rounds are through those, because I've had firearms before that, especially hammer fired, where you have your hammer and your sear, and they've just been fired so much that all that's kind of worn in and polished itself.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna let me get into that in just a second. Mr. Boulay in the Department of Numismatics sends in $5 American. Boeing hired the same guy who assembled the P320. His job was to install the emergency access windows on the Max. That's very funny. Tolerance stacking. Yeah. So I'm not sure that I actually believe, because so full disclosure, I've got a bunch of P320s. And I carry a P365 all the time. Never had a single problem. I do have I have had an issue with the P320. Was never able to get mine to go off when I dropped it, but I did put an aftermarket trigger kit in from Armory Craft, and it's a very interesting sort of trigger feel to it. And I've often wondered if I should go back to stock, but I do like it. But the thing is that I've never been able. I've crawled through the mud. I beat that gun to hell and back, thrown it in boxes, all kinds of things, and it's never actually self-discharged.
I've never personally seen one or personally known anybody that's had that issue. Right? That's the crazy thing.
I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I just find it very convenient that.
Well, anything can happen. So yeah, there are machines, right? They're mechanical devices, and then you've got, and we all know with the gun world, the user is the, what is it? What is they saying? The part between the part between your two ears is the one that often fails. You have that too on your 365. You know about the trigger return spring, right?
Mm-hmm.
On those, okay.
Raging Patriot celebrates 9 months of membership. 9 months, and it's getting ready to pop out my little bouncing Betty. LOL, if you know, you know. Afternoon Grid, Clover, and Chat send donos and support the grift, damn it. It's an excellent.
If you own a P365, pick you up some trigger return springs for sure. And I would say definitely no more than a couple thousand rounds. Myself personally, and I don't care for 365, so I don't own one. But personally, I'd probably do it every 1,000. They're cheap enough that I'd swap those out. That's the most common issue I see with a 365. And the bad thing about that is the 365 is a carry gun, right? Like you do not want to pull that thing out in an emergency when you need it. That somebody's not work. So
yeah, I've never had a problem with mine.
Well, you won't until it fucking breaks, and that's my point.
Yeah. I've never had a problem, but I take it apart quite a bit.
Well, that's great, but we're talking about replacing a spring that's going to snap.
I look at all the springs and stuff. I'm actually kind of spring. I've had so much trouble with springs and shotguns and pistols that I don't have springs for every one that I have, but I'm probably pretty close.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Shotguns especially, man, they kill springs. So,
yep.
While we're so the second kind of controversial thing.
Oh shit, there's more.
Oh, there's more. Yeah. No, I said I had at least two. I may have one more, but we'll see where we go with this one. So let me ask you, have you been watching the Trump and Israel kind of thing?
Negative Ghost Rider. Not really. No.
Okay. Well, it's hard to ask you a controversial question if you're not even fucking paying attention.
What's the gist of it?
Well, all right. So you know how Trump gave them Trump got the ceasefire, and then when the Palestinians when Hamas finally released some of the prisoners, a lot of them were dead, including babies.
Yeah.
And in true Israeli form, they kind of stewed on it for a while, and then they said, fuck it, we're going to kill some Hamas dudes. So they broke the ceasefire.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm aware.
And so Daddy Trump, and it made Trump look bad because he had literally he'd been on a wind tour going around saying, hey, I made this happen. And then, the ceasefire, they violated the ceasefire. So there's speculation that Trump imposed a 17% tariff on the goods and services from Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of as fuck you to Israel for breaking his ceasefire and making him look bad.
He's got the authority to do that. So I don't know that I wouldn't too. I'd be pissed.
Right, right. I would in that same boat. Would you not? I'm sitting there going, probably would.
And let's be honest, how much shit comes from Israel? Really? Come on, really?
Yeah. So, and now the Israelis have sent a message to Trump saying that they're dropping all tariffs on all goods and services from America. They hope that it's or they're doing it as a gesture of goodwill and blah 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 and blah 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 and blah blah blah. Yeah. And Trump's getting crap for all of it, as being because apparently the Israelis apparently control the world. I wasn't made aware of that until recently, but apparently they control the world. And so I'm kind of interested in your take on this. Especially since you haven't really been paying a lot of attention. You're not like super biased.
Well, I mean, which part? Imposing the tariffs, or that it's Trump's fault?
Well, just globally, how do you think it makes Trump look?
It's bad. It's bad when you broker a ceasefire, and then especially when you broker a ceasefire, and it's it would be different if you brokered the ceasefire and the side that you're not aligned with breaks it, right? You'd be like, okay, or best aligned.
Yeah, then you look cool.
Like, okay, that probably happens. That's the majority of what happens when ceasefires, I'm sure, are broken. So yeah, having your friendly or whatever you want to call it break it. Yeah, that's not good, man. But I don't know. Trump's getting some egg on his face, and I seriously worry. I'm not opposed to the tariffs thing, and in general, but there's some things that, like, I got a fucking email from a crossbow company that I work with today that was freaking out. Like, they're going to be affected.
What company?
And crossbows. And yeah, and it's going to affect their prices 20-30%. They're saying
because they get stuff out of Israel.
They get no. We're not talking. We're talking about overall
I got
tariff stuff. Yeah. Not Israel specifically, but no, that issue dealing with the ceasefire. No, I agree with you. I mean, that's not good.
I think the 17% tariffs was in response because Israel's always had a tariff on American goods, and Trump didn't play favorites. He might have been a little bit more punitive to them, obviously, because he can be, right? Like, he's like, you messed up my, I did this great thing for you, and you said fuck you, and so now we have to.
It was a punishment, and their dropping them was a to try to gain favor, get back into good graces. But the problem with them dropping them on the U.S. is that's not going to make friends elsewhere that are having to fucking pay, having to charge right for stuff coming in. So like I said, I don't know. At the end of the day, I think it's for the most part, it had to have been, right? And this the reason I say it just had to have been like this superficial political theater fucking thing.
Sure.
Is seriously, how much shit do we actually pump into Israel, and how much shit does Israel actually pump into the U.S.? Like, it's not that, it can't be that. I don't know the numbers, but it can't be that big.
Yeah.
It can't be. Talking about
we're
talking about a country the size of fucking New Jersey or some shit. Like, there's no fucking way, dude.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So what do you think? And what do you? I mean, just kind of all of the overall. Have you been paying much attention to it? Because you got Trump. You're having to respond to the idea that Elon might be leaving the administration. He had to make a response about that yesterday, and just all of these various things.
Yeah.
Where are you at on all this, man? What's your overall?
I'm starting to get worried. I was optimistic when he was elected. I thought, okay, the most of the country's woken up. You know, we're in a good spot. I think we're moving in the right direction. He was saying he was going to do some good things. He started the wheels turning on doing some good things. He was appointing people to some places. I'm wondering if part of the Elon thing and the rumors and the stuff around that is that Trump's not moving fucking fast enough for Elon, right? I think Elon's approach is better than Trump's approach as far as the expediency of everything goes. Elon understands that it needs to be done quickly for a variety of reasons. Everything Trump had talked about needs to be implemented and done quickly because he's one term, because midterms are coming up, you know, because the people are hurting in general, right? And you know, that's where I go back to this overall general issue of the tariffs. While I disagree, I don't think we were in the right position to fucking be playing these games. Now, we'll see, because Trump is a negotiator and a wheeler and a dealer and all of this, right? And there's already talk that, you know, several countries have come back and, you know, it's opened up conversations, and, you know, who knows where it'll end up, right? But you know, if you're in a bad automobile accident and, you know, you've sliced your femoral artery and you've lost your pinky finger, the tourniquet goes on the fucking femoral artery. You know what I mean? Like, you know, screw trying to, you know, put a tourniquet across the tip of your pinky finger or whatever, right? Like, that's not where the focus needs to be right away. And so I use that analogy, and it might not be correct, but I use that analogy to say that I don't know, while I agree with tariffs, I don't know that the timing is right on the tariffs. And I said this from the day before he ever took office. I'm like, he better hit the ground running, which he did, and he better make some shit happen. The economy is a huge thing, and these tariffs are fucking with the economy. They're gonna fuck with the economy. We understand that. We understand short-term pain, long-term gain. We understand that. The problem is Trump is dealing in the fucking short term because of his limited tenure and midterms. And so,
well, he's also having to fight for every inch of ground.
There's razor thin margins already. Like, we gained so much ground, it seemed like, in November. And I'm afraid that things just ain't moving fast enough or moving in the right direction to where that's all going to get lost in midterms. It typically gets lost in midterms anyway. So we've got that against us as well. So I don't know. I'm a little concerned.
I mean, we have to also acknowledge the fact that Trump is literally fighting, like, for every inch of ground. Like, every time he does anything, the very next thing that happens is it gets opposed. Like, literally, like, instantly.
Oh yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Like, he puts, you know.
But that's old news. That's nothing fucking new.
Yeah, but it's
and worse not now.
Only. It's like he announces, "Hey, we're going to do."
I don't know that it is.
You know, we're going to do this, and even before he gets it written, they've already got a lawsuit out against him. You know, like, it's crazy right now.
And I don't know. I mean, it's been that way with presidents forever, that they say they're going to do this, and then the opposing side, you know, it's a two-party political system, and people can't just align as fucking citizens and humans and figure out the best courses of action. They got to side with their party, right? I mean, like, take the Doge thing, right? This is what blows my mind with burning the Teslas and the whatever the hell's going on. Or people,
dude, that's hilarious, honestly.
And it's like, how can anybody in their right mind be upset about fraud in billions and billions of tax dollars being wasted? Like, that makes no sense to me, how anybody can even remotely entertain the idea that that's bad.
Exactly. Like, why is this a bad thing for you?
Yeah. And so the conclusion that I've sort of come to is the vast majority of people that are railing against it. Well, let me back up. There's a few people railing against it that they're against it for selfish, nefarious fucking reasons. And they have control of the big donors and the pocketbooks to be able to pay off or in some way incentivize a large number of people to get on their side and bitch about it, right? So, like I don't know that the uproar is indicative of the actual sentiment of the majority of the country. Like I don't believe for a second it is. So, but anytime, I don't know, there's these movements, right? You've got the anti-Doge thing now. BLM was not that long ago. Before that, you had the women in the pussy hats. Before that, you had, and the right is guilty as well. Do you remember the Tea Party, for example, right? So the right's got its own.
Well, I mean, but the Tea Party was the Tea Party wasn't out burning or destroying anything.
I understand, but I'm talking about as far as this is a grassroots thing that really wasn't really a grassroots thing, you know. I'm
not sure that the Tea Party was ever really portrayed as being grassroots, since they were all. I mean, most of the Tea Party were politicians.
Oh well, that's where grassroots America sprung up from. So like,
you're talking about the original Tea Party.
Well, I'm talking about 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I don't remember.
Yeah, 10 or 12 years ago. That's that was most of the people in the Tea Party were politicians. Like, and us on the sidelines were just like, I don't know, should I vote for these guys? Should I not vote for these guys?
Well, I'm talking about, when I say Tea Party, I'm talking about like that was Glenn Beck was a big head of that, for example.
Yeah, I think he promoted them for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Heritage Foundation.
Yeah,
there were quite a few, quote unquote right wing things, in all that. But I just say that to illustrate that both sides do it, right? That's the only reason I'm bringing that up. I'm not saying they're equal in what they do, but both sides have their arms, their army, their whatever you want to call it, that they put to work.
It's true.
Whenever they've got some type of agenda that they want to push, or if they ever want to make the right hand do something so you don't see what the left hand's doing, right? They break out those too. So, we gotta be careful of that. So I don't know. I want to be optimistic at the same time. It's like, there's some risky business going on right now, economically speaking.
Yeah, I mean, you can't convince me, honestly, that most Americans are going to feel even. I mean, they'll be mad because the price of their stuff's going to go up. But we've done that. That's just almost a fucking normal thing now, which is,
well, it depends on how much it goes up. So I was looking at, here's the thing. I was looking at, and this gets into the tariffs and whatever. I was looking at, we were probably going to lease. So it may not make, at the end of the day, it may not make that much of a difference. We'll see. But we were looking at a new car, because this one that we've got, we travel all over to these shows and shit with it. At this point, it's got over 103,000. I don't know, 102. I don't even know, something like that. But it's cracked 100K. And it's like, okay, we got to think about getting something else. Not really for my wife, daily driver issue, but for the trips anyway. I just don't feel comfortable. And I really wanted to go with another fucking Kia. But now with these tariffs, like, I don't know. And I don't want a fucking Ford or a Chevrolet I just don't, because they fucking suck ass. Like, they don't make anything with all of the options and that with everything else that gets the type of gas mileage that this fucking Kia gets. Like, the performance aspect plus the gas mileage. And it's not even a money issue. It's the fact that they fucking flat don't make it. So the tariffs, whether there's tariffs or not, it doesn't make any difference. I still wouldn't fucking buy it. Or still don't.
It's interesting that you bring that up. So I don't know if you've heard me rant about this. If you have, you get to hear it again. So I have a thing where I a couple of years ago, I was looking at the Ford and probably 4 years ago, I think. I was looking at the Ford Maverick. They released it at $15,000. That's what it was supposed to cost. And
I was pissed that wasn't a car, by the way, when they brought it back.
The Maverick's a truck.
I know. I said I was pissed that wasn't a car when they brought it back.
Yeah. So there was like, it's basically, supposed to be, you were able to get two drivetrains, a hybrid, and then a 2-liter gas motor, straight, just a straight gas motor. And they originally claimed that that you could, in the Maverick, you would get a vehicle that could get 40 miles to the gallon and tow a reasonable amount.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a lie.
Yeah.
So to be able to tow anything worth towing, you had to get the 4-wheel drive or the all-wheel drive version. And that version was only available with the gas motor, which only ended up getting like 28 or 30 miles to the gallon.
Still pretty good for a truck.
Still really good for a small truck, but not what was promised. Even the hybrid, which was only available in front-wheel drive, which is, sucks for towing. Even that, and it didn't have the towing capacity either. The hybrid was only got like 8 miles to the gallon more or better than the than the non-hybrid.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And they were supposed to sell for $15,000 for the base, $25,000 for the fully loaded sport, whatever.
Right. Yeah. Double it.
And they sold a shit ton of them. They sold so many of them that they shut the production down because they couldn't keep up with the orders. So they just said, we're not making anymore. We're not selling anymore. So then they brought it back. Same deal, except this time they start at like $28,000 and go to $40,000.
Yeah, supposed to have doubled it. Yeah.
But I really wanted to buy one at like $20,000 or $25,000. I'm like, that's perfect. That's super cheap. I don't care anything about it. If it rolls down in a ditch, I'll cry a little bit because it's shiny new paint. But other than that, I mean, who cares? Mm-hmm. But I was so pissed off about the gas mileage and the towing and everything else. I really wanted the hybrid so I could get out on a highway and get, 48, 50 miles to the gallon out of the hybrid. But you can't do that. It doesn't. And now they've brought it back. And I haven't actually checked the stats on the when they brought it back. But I was so pissed at Ford and their bait and switch that it really pissed me off a lot.
You know what I want?
What's that?
I want a modular vehicle. I want a vehicle that, if you've ever played around in like the RC car world,
mm-hmm.
Where like literally like everything, the drivetrain, the suspension, the body, like fucking everything is just modular, like a few
mm-hmm.
bolts or pins and you pop that off and pop one on. It would be so cool to have a modular vehicle. And, you would have to have, of course, a garage or someplace to store all your spare parts and stuff, but it could be really cool to like pull that fucking thing into a garage and then like an hour or two it's converted to 4-wheel drive or it's converted to fucking electric or it's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be fucking cool. But
that would be weird.
I'm sure the engineering complexities of that, it'll never happen. But I would love to see like a life-size fucking, a high-end RC car and a life-size vehicle. That could be cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it'd be cool to have one. Obviously, it's not cool because I can't get one and it sucks. But at the end of the day, I'm still. I mean, every now and again I look at them because to be honest with you, other than the Hyundai Santa Cruz,
mm-hmm.
there's nobody else that makes a hybrid small pickup.
The Pilot or whatever is not.
The Honda Pilot's not a pickup.
Oh, it's not.
No, it's an SUV.
Doesn't Honda have a? No, it's not the Pilot. Then what's the Honda that's the pickup?
It's a full-size truck now. The Honda.
You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going crazy.
The Ridgeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not.
The Santa Cruz. Does Subaru have one?
Nope. Well, they reintroduced the Baja for a while.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't think they still make it, and I don't think
they
it,
should.
They should. I don't think it's hybrid.
They should totally bring back the Brat. Like that'd be awesome.
They brought back a version of it, but it was
Brat.
Ugly.
Yeah.
I had a Mitsubishi Raider, and a long time ago. I like them. They don't sell them here. They're all right-hand drive, and they don't offer it in a pickup. So I need a pickup, right? I need a legitimate pickup truck, and that's why an SUV doesn't work. And really, the Maverick is supposed to replace the Explorer Sport, which, if you know what that is, it's it's basically the front half of an Explorer with a kind of a truck bed in place of the rear of it.
Yeah,
and they were hugely popular.
Yep.
But they quit making it. So, and Chevrolet doesn't produce anything in that market at all.
I'm going to switch subjects on you, but it's just because we were talking about imports and tariffs, and we were talking about this, and I just happened to think about it. Did you know there's a company in Mexico importing 22 rifles into the country now?
Oh, really? No, I didn't know that.
There's a manufacturer in fucking Mexico. I don't know of, at least in modern times, it may have been, 100 years ago or some kind of shit. There may have been something, but I don't know of any gun manufacturers that were ever based out of Mexico and imported into the U.S.
Yeah, that seems weird. That seems weird. But
I'm sure the tariffs fuck up that, because this was probably a cheap 22 until the tariffs kick in.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what kind of happens with firearm prices. There's already, so like general aviation is protected because there's a contract, or not a contract, but a provision that they can't be tariffed.
Right.
So for civilian aviation, airplanes are protected. So, if you wanted to buy an airplane from France or somewhere, you could do that.
Well, there's potentially a Second Amendment argument to be made for gun related stuff and tariffs.
Well, they wouldn't let you win it, because the minute you do that, the NFA is no longer void, or no longer valid.
This is true, because you're paying a tax. Yeah, that's true. Well, no, it would be a tax on a manufacturer though side, not a or an importer or whatever, not an individual. So it'd be a little different case, a little different argument there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know how it's going to pan out either. There's so much regulation around guns and especially importation and all that already. There's already so many different fees and other things that, and honestly, I don't know that the vast majority of people are even paying attention to it. So, I don't know. I agree with you. It's going to be interesting to see kind of where it goes with all that.
Yeah, it will be. And it's an interest. I mean, I find it interesting. There's a lot of stuff going on now. I actually am going to have to jump off. I've got to get ready to go pick up my kid at daycare and all that nonsense. I'm going to send you guys over to Kat Katibi. She's talking about Michaela Peterson and all of that.
She's still a thing.
Yeah, apparently. Anyway, you guys have a great rest of your day. Ben, sorry you didn't get to talk on your second trip up. Or third.
Oh, no problem. I talked plenty before, so.
Yeah. We'll be doing a show tomorrow night, and we'll have a good time. As always, guys, be cool. Wear glasses if you need them.